Good evening, race fans, and welcome in once again here on VirtualRacing.Network. I'm Trevor Greenfield. You're watching live iRacing on VirtualRacing.Network. Tonight, we return to everyone's favorite super speedway. Yes, it's the Talladega Super Speedway. Once again, we'll be visiting, but this time it's the trucks, the NORA Truck Series, in the midst of the playoffs in the round of 8. So they are fighting it out tonight in the EKRDesigns.co 250. And welcome once again. I'm Trevor Greenfield. Tonight we'll be doing 20 laps in the first stage, 40 in the second, 94 laps overall. And I'm pleased tonight to be joined by some different folks in the booth. Two very veteran sim racers, very special guests here on VirtualRacing.Network. To begin with, we have Ryan Patty, who was out there racing last night in the Icon Cup Series. Of course, he's the head honcho over there. He'll be joining us, as well as Hanover Fist, who's involved with the Icon Cup Series as well. And both of these gentlemen are longtime sim racers. It's great to have you both joining us. And Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about Talladega? I know you were just out there last night in Icon. What can these truck drivers expect out there tonight?
Thanks, Trevor. Yeah, it's great to be here, and this will be the first time actually watching the NORA Truck Series. So not quite sure what sort of a dynamic these drivers are going to have with each other, but I will say Talladega Super Speedway, it's definitely it's its own animal. We've got two super speedways on the circuit here. Obviously, this in Daytona, and Talladega just slightly bigger at 2.66 miles. The steepest bank track on the circuit. Obviously, here drafting is going to be big play for all of the drivers. Everyone's going to want to stay in that lead pack to have a chance to score some stage points if they can at the end of lap 20 and lap 40. And of course, everyone's thinking about it. No one wants to mention it, but we've got to talk about the big one. There's going to be potentially a wreck at some point in this race that's going to affect someone's playoff chances. So I'm sure everyone's going to be trying to avoid it as best they can. But yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. It's going to be exciting. I'm very excited for it.
Well, appreciate that, Ryan, and we're looking forward to all three of us getting to call another exciting race here. Of course, you recognize the guy who just jumped up to the top of the qualifying board. That's Timmy Harper for Harper Motorsports. He got some practice out there last night, as did Jacob Gladelich, who's right now sitting in second place. Nick Geilis for Nightmare Motorsports putting in a great time. And of course, Hanover, qualifying doesn't mean a heck of a lot here at Talladega. So what can these drivers kind of be thinking about in terms of laps that you're going to get out of a tank, with fuel? And then, are we thinking maybe there's going to be a lot of yellows tonight? Do we not know? Could it be fuel strategy? What are you thinking might play out tonight?
Thanks for having me tonight. The trucks, it's a lot of touchy-feely kind of drafting with the trucks. In a pack, it can go great, it can go bad real quick. So I just received information. It's looking like it's like 31 and a half laps per tank. So we probably won't see any pit stops during the first two stages, but definitely during the last long stage, you're going to have to come in for fuel.
So, and we will be expecting at least 2 stops for these drivers. As you said, if we go green all the way, which I cannot possibly fathom the concept of going green all the way at Talladega, some of these drivers might have to stretch that fuel tank just a little bit, do some fuel saving. But as we saw last night in Icon, it was a handful for a lot of these drivers because of the timing of the caution. They had to really pedal that car. And Hanover, you were telling me, you being in that race, you really did have to stay in single file and try and draft and save as much fuel as you could. That's the longest you've ever done here at Talladega.
Oh yeah, in a straight line. Normally you get people that'll jump out and want to make that chance to move their positions up. But it all depends on who goes with you. If you jump out there by yourself, and I did it once last night, it was see ya, and they all drove away. But you also have to, besides trying to keep in line to keep that fuel savings, well, like last night, you caught me at the end, running around with Ryan behind me, and you thought, hey, I had the secret. No, I just had a little more fuel, and I was looking for good broadcast time, being up in the lead for the first time this season. So
took your opportunity to get a little bit of extra screen time. Why not? I hear what you're saying. Some of these drivers, they've got it figured out. And last night, that was exciting. We didn't know. We just don't know up here in the broadcast booth what everyone's fuel strategy is, but always keeping us on our toes. So this is a look here at the driver standings coming in here after Bristol. And you can see we are in the round of 8, which means 8 drivers are in this championship hunt still, with Nick Geilis and Christopher Heights in previously in the playoffs, but dropping out as we made it into the round of 8. And now you see where that cutoff line is. That's to make it into the round of 4. We still have one more race following this, which is Homestead, but all these drivers going to be looking to secure their place into that round of 4. Eric Sable, by the fact that he took the win last week, is clinched to get into that round of 4. And guys, Ryan, I mean, this is like, just to win, it gets that monkey off your back. It's one of those things that, you know, if anybody out there can take a win, of course, you got to be in the playoffs as it stands to still be able to make it in. But if you can, there's nothing better. So with that, let's go ahead and set tonight's starting grid for Talladega. It is, of course, round number 2 of the round of 8 playoffs and round number 21 overall, the EXR Designs.co 250. And we'll be talking much more about EXR Designs coming up soon. Starting on pole position, he put in his time very late, but he is a winner in the Cup Series. It's no surprise to see Vincent Arthur reach his name out there in the trucks and get himself to the top of the board. Congratulations to him for Flatline. And then starting alongside him, Cody Reeder, who's looking to get into that top group, who's not, you know, he's on the outside now looking in. So he's going to be starting second. On the second row will be Nick Geilis and Timmy Harper, one of the other championship contenders. Jacob Vladelich, who's also in that championship hunt, will be starting next to Dustin Kleba. On the fourth row, Coy Pennington starting tonight for the first time in his debut in 7th place. Mark Bremkamp, and starting alongside him in 9th, Eric Sable, last week's winner, will be next to Josh Conover, who's looking to continue to stay in the playoffs, starting in 10th. Corey Danielson in 11th place, and Christopher Heights will start in 12th place. In 13th, Anthony Campbell comes over from Icon Cup Series to start with his new team, Harper Motorsports, and next to him will be John Cottle. In the 15th position, Jake Christenberry, alongside of Brian Jones, one of our championship contenders. Torrin Schertz, still competing for this championship. He'll have to start in 17th. 18th will be Todd Schneider. 19th, Cody Height. 20th, Ronnie Norman. 21st, Everett Couts. And next to him, Todd Slauson, of course, Everett, the sponsor for tonight's race. We do appreciate him putting that out there for us to be able to talk about tonight. We will get a chance to. And Stephen Henning with Christian Snyder going to be starting in 23rd and 24th. David McGuire and Martin Plute. And finally, Chad Engel will bring up the tail. And we're set to go here, guys. We're ready to kick this one off at Talladega. Buckle your seatbelts. Strap yourself down however you got to do it, because we are in for a wild ride here at Talladega. The green flag is out, and we are underway with Vincent Arthur leading the way here at Talladega.
And they're still side by side going into turn 1. One thing I was told ahead of the race here, Trevor, is that pushing is definitely what you want to do to go faster, but engine temperatures are going to be a real problem for these drivers. They're going to go up very fast if these drivers lock bumpers front to rear. So we'll have to pay attention to how close these drivers can get and for how long without pushing the issue with their engine temps.
Well, and Ryan, I mean, you know, you can push and you can go up there and push your guys to the front. You can try and take stage wins, all part of the strategy here. But to what extent do you just want to survive this race? Might we see some drivers just kind of drop back and want to hang out at the back for a bit?
Yeah, you'll see a mixture of strategies, that's for sure. it's been the tale as old as time here at super speedways, where some folks think it's the safest to be up front, so they'll push hard right out of the get-go, like you're seeing there. Vince and Arthur all over the back bumper. Other drivers, they'll probably fade to the back. You may see some drivers duck out in the back stretch if it is allowed in this league, and fade back as quickly as possible. I see a couple of drivers up high there, maybe intentionally going to the rear. But the truth be told, there is no safe place on these racetracks. There really isn't. We've seen wrecks start in the front, the middle, and the rear.
Yep. Yeah, last night, the first stage, I thought I'll just ride around the back until we're done with the stage and then go at it. And then when I tried to get back there, I lost the pack, so I had no choice. So you can make a mistake real quick and lose that group, too.
Yeah, and you don't want to drift too far back. As we're watching now, great race going on with Cody Reeder for KPR Motorsports leading the way, and Timothy Harper on the outside in that yellow number 99. Both of these drivers racing for that championship. We're still staying 2x2 all the way back, but certainly you can drift back a little ways, maybe a couple of seconds back, but you don't want to drift too far back. Otherwise, you do take a chance of losing this lead pack like we saw both of you guys doing last night, and somehow, miraculously, a yellow came out at the right time for you, Hanover. You were able to get back on the lead lap and actually go up there and be in the top 5 for a while. While, Ryan, you got caught a lap down, unfortunately, after falling back off of the pace.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and that's the name of the game. But personally, I'm an optimist, so I feel like I'd never be out of this race if you get caught a lap down. The NASCAR rules are pretty forgiving for that. You've got waiver rounds if the leaders all pit, you can catch back up. You've got lucky dogs, which tend to be pretty helpful for cars that get stuck a lap down. But then that starts a whole new game if you do get lapped, of who else is a lap down with you, and then you may see a race within a race between cars that are fighting for that lucky dog position.
Yeah, and certainly there's all kinds of things to fight for, all kinds of strategies, but right now it looks like everybody kind of playing that inside-outside game and just sort of waiting for this to either break apart or for one line to become dominant. I know last night we were seeing the outside line was pretty much unparalleled, at least through the first half of the race. You wanted to be in that outside line, and then finally it looked like the inside came in a little bit. What will we see tonight? Well, right now it's looking very equal for these trucks. Are either of you familiar with these trucks? Have you raced these trucks versus what we of course saw last night in the Icon Cup Series? We'll see tomorrow night in the NORA Cup Series. These Craftsman Trucks, are these something that you guys race in official or league racing?
League racing. We ran trucks for 4 seasons in the other league I work in. And again, the truck is a whole different creature than the car. It drafts totally different. Its side drafts totally different. It seems a little more dancey than the new car when you're in a pack. But other than that, you're still, it's momentum. That's the biggest part. Like last night, you said the outside line was working. If you had a group of guys that got that momentum and were able to get a run towards the inside line, boy, they just blew past us. But if you come up too slow and you'll get up to the leader, the wind will hit your nose and you're stuck parallel and you're not gaining any ground. So it'll be the same with the trucks. You'll hit that wall of air and it'll affect you.
Well, and that was what I was getting at too, is just how different versus similar these trucks are versus the Cup cars, because anybody who's out there watching along with us on YouTube, as we see a move up the track there. That was Vincent Arthur who moved up, and now he's just trying to slide backwards.
That may not have been intentional. It looked like he may have got a little help, got a little loose, and the instability moved him up the track.
We're seeing some more movement around, some drivers getting a little loose. This would be about the time when maybe if you are going to notice the truck getting a little loose, the newness on those tires wearing off a little bit. So perhaps that's what we're seeing a little bit out there, but we'll keep an eye on that as we go along. And of course, let me give a big shout out over into the YouTube chat room for everybody who's watching along with us. Feel free to say hello. We'll be glad to give you a shout out on the air. Let us know who you're watching on, and watching for and who you're rooting on and where you're watching from. And we'll be happy to chat with all of you folks throughout the race. Of course, we get our customary fan clubs that pop in. Anthony Campbell over in the Icon Cup Series, now over here in NORA Truck. Tends to bring his own fan crowd with him, as well as Stephen Dombrowski usually showing up for Ronnie Norman. I'm sure we'll see all these folks showing up. Jake Christenberry, of course, has his own fan club that shows up for these races as well. It's always great to see everybody pops in for these races. Nick Geilis now popping up into the top 5. He's up into that second spot. And Dustin Kleba, who needs to get some extra points to get up there into the top 4 positions. He's already up into second place. So we're seeing some drivers already making their way forward. John Cottle now moving forward for Hollinger Racing up into 6th spot, and he's up 8 positions. But how about this guy? The namesake of EKR Designs. There you see it on his hood. He kind of pulled out into the outside lane there for a second. He's got it all over his race truck there. And of course, this is the EKRDesigns.co 250. And Everett already climbing 12 positions so far. So we'll watch on to see whether the race sponsor can go out there and win the race as well. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, would love to see that. And a quick note here, Vincent Arthur all the way back to 26th position. Went back and took a look at that, and it looked like he did voluntarily exit the picture there once he got an opening to go high.
It's certainly an interesting strategy call as we change back and look at where he's dropped to. I mean, he is really falling back to the very back of the field, but right now he's sitting next to several very experienced drivers. You've got Christian Snyder, Cody Height, Brian Jones, and Josh Conover, and many of them are going to be chatting back and forth on the radio. Yeah, some 3 wide is open up, guys. The door is open, and some folks are walking right through it.
Yeah, I mean, with a stage that's only 20 laps long, we're halfway now. You can see the pace is picking up already. These guys are getting a little bit antsy, and as you can see, with three lanes of traffic, when you're out there and you're stuck in one of those lanes 2, 3, 4 rows back, there's nowhere to go. You're just sitting there pushing the guy behind you. Pushing the guy in front of you, and you've got someone behind you that you hope doesn't drive through you. So the urgency is now to be able to get to the front of one of those lanes to be able to potentially make a move later in this stage.
And with the trucks with that high spoiler in back, you don't get a lot of view. I mean, you're hoping that you're reacting to what's happening 3 trucks up because you can't see it. You're just there.
Yeah, you can see it there with John Cottle getting a little squirrely as the back end's starting to kick out. I don't know if that's because the tires are getting hot or he's just having to overcorrect a little bit to stay right on that back bumper. But those are the moves that, if you go a little bit too far, could send you around.
Yeah, you definitely got to be careful. You don't want to be the one that causes the quote-unquote big one. But it's a question as to whether we can stay green. Cottle now diving down to the low side. He's going to try to take that position, and he does very quickly, and kind of leaves Kleba out to dry there. Now drifting backwards.
There was a matter of inches between that rear and front bumper as he came across. I don't know if they had to lift there or not, but I think is that Mark Brenkamp?
Mark Bremkamp there with the number 78 coming up for BS Motorsports, and it's amazing. Look at this, 3 wide, 3 rows deep, almost 4 rows deep there. I mean, this is a blanket can cover this top 12 right now. It's anyone's first stage for sure. Got Cody Reeder, Everett Couts now into second position. So he has come all the way forward 18 spots to now be into second. But now he goes on that outside line. Looks like he might get hung out to dry now that he's made it all the way forward, and that outside line starts to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah, they just lost the momentum in the organization. That's the thing. I know it's probably a little bit more relevant to the Cup cars, where when you're trying to get a team of cars together to draft, the third car in line is really very, very important. If you're trying to push one car and you don't have someone close to your rear bumper, it's going to be a challenge to really gain the speed that you need to make a run. So we see this second lane starting to form up again. Oh, yeah, and as I say it, looks like they're starting to populate that lane and move back. So once they get organized enough, we'll definitely see them up there again. 13 laps in. We've got about 7 to go here in the first stage, so I don't think we're done with
Mr. Anthony is blinking a little bit, and that's not fun when it's a lead truck, because you don't know if he's going to reappear on your hood or inside your car or anything, so that can get scary.
Certainly, we do see that. It seems like once a race, there's somebody with a connection that bounces in and out, but everybody being at different parts of the country, it certainly is, at different times people having storm issues and things like that could cause a problem, but it looks like Campbell really having some issues blinking in and out right now. So a lot of times drivers, as you know, will pull down to the inside of the apron or pull to the outside, just try to get out of the way of the other drivers if that starts happening too much.
And don't look now, but I see Josh Conover and Vincent Anthony starting to make a run at the back of the pack. We may see them coming up here soon.
Absolutely coming forward. Josh Conover, known to be able to slice and dice through these plate tracks, and he's making his way up through the order right now, up into 14th place. He's got Stephen Henning just in front.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. As soon as there was a checkup in that second lane, they looked to the outside, but didn't quite have the momentum to make it work. Like as soon as we see a third lane form, we'll probably see it stack up pretty quickly here with 5 to go.
So here's Christian Snyder tonight, running a little bit of VirtualRacing.Network signage on there, but in a little bit of a different paint scheme. And he's just, I think tonight he's just trying to survive the first part of this race. I think that's what we were talking about last night. He's just interested in being able to make it to the end because he's had some great races here on VirtualRacing.Network, most recently at Pocono, being able to be up there in the lead with his teammates at Full Send Motorsports. But the difficulty has been getting to the very end and being able to capture a top 10 finish. And I know before the end of the season, he would like to be able to claim something good, if not a win. That's been the big deal over at Full Send. They've been able to score a win each and every season in NORA. And thus far this season, they have been winless. So maybe he's got to put the load on his own back and go out there and take the win. But he's doing whatever he can to survive this one, at least until the end.
Thanks, Trevor. Yeah, we're all giving our best in those cars at Full Send every week that we get out there.
Absolutely. I almost forgot, Ryan. You're one of the new team drivers at Full Send. And, Jenks came in second last night. Brendan Jenks in the Icon Cup Series came in second, and Christian's first words were like, hey, well, you almost got up there and got a win. It wasn't, like most team owners, they're going to be like, wow, second place, congratulations. He was like, we almost got a win. So
the boy is hungry. He's hungry, and that's why I like running for him. He wants to win races, and I want to win races too. So hopefully we'll get one here soon. Maybe even tonight.
It could happen tonight. Cody Reeder right now leading this race. As you mentioned, we've got just several laps to go until we hit that caution for the stage. But a lot of these drivers want this extra couple of points that it's going to mean. These stages do award a significant amount of points that could put you over the top. I mean, with just several races able to get the points that you need to move on, each and every one of these stages has a lot of valuable points for these championship drivers. So Cody Reeder up there right now. You got Torrin Schertz back in 6th place, Timothy Harper in 7th, and Eric Sable in 10th. So if any of these other drivers want to get up there and punch their way into the playoffs, they're going to need to try to get up there and get as many of these stage points as they can possibly get. Right now, looks like 2 wide with a third lane with Everett Couch at the front of it, now climbing its way up into 5th position, and they've got a heck of a momentum coming forward now.
And we see that third lane starting to form again. Looks a lot more organized this time. They may be able to make some hay up there, just depending on how well they can stick together.
They just had a couple peel back off to the center, though, so that will lose some of that momentum to the outside.
Yeah, but we've got Dustin Kleba giving a really good push here up front. It's like he has the option to go to the low line, and they do go to the low line.
Well, Couts pulls out of that high line into the middle, and I guess
Not going to have a lot of help.
Yeah, he's not going to have a lot of help. In fact, there comes the yellow truck of Tim Harper up behind to try to push him. Meanwhile, Cody Reeder takes over that lead spot here as we're on lap number 19, about to make it to the start of the second stage, the end of the first stage. Who's it going to be that's going to take the stage win? And of course, hey, great to have you, Megan Beadle, joining us for the Jake Christenberry fan club. You're just in time to see, is it Cody Reeder or Eric Sable? Are we going to have an incident coming to the line? It's getting very racy. Cody Reeder is going to take the stage victory. Eric Sable.
I tell you, that was close.
It was super close. Eric Sable in second place, Everett Couts in third, Ronnie Norman in fourth, and I believe Dustin Kleba got fifth place. So congratulations is in order, and so two of our championship drivers up there securing the maximum amount of points. With that, we're going to step aside for just a moment. We're going to recalculate all of our fuel mileage, and we'll be back here to chat with one of our drivers in the field in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It was a super exciting first stage with a fantastic finish. But one of the drivers in the field tonight is usually one of the guys who's up in the booth, and we've got a chance to chat with him now. Christian Snyder, we saw you a little bit in this first stage. You were kind of towards the back. Were you just hanging out in the back? Did you not want to get up there and play around with all that fun up in the front, thinking there might be a crash? I mean, they were only 3 wide.
Yeah, that's our plan for the team. I mean, none of us really need stage points, so we were just hanging out in the back, and probably going to do the same thing here for stage 2. But even if they were single file up front, we were still going to just sit back here, just relax until stage 3, and then the money's on. I mean, all 3 of us are kind of staying together. Chad's kind of going up and doing his own thing, kind of 2 strategies. That way we don't all have one strategy going on. But yeah, I think it's just going to be stay safe until the end and keep the truck in one piece.
Certainly. And any takes from you and the rest of the team as far as how the trucks are feeling tonight? Is anybody getting loose? We noticed a couple of drivers up in the front looked like they were possibly getting a little loose about 8 to 10 laps in.
Yeah, the trival's a little bit loose, and turn 1, 2. I mean, the trival's so bumpy that it kind of unloads the truck and kind of snaps it sideways a little bit. But other than that, it's not too bad. truck's able to make some crazy moves. I'm not going to make them yet, but you definitely can make some wild moves, and we'll have to see what I can do at the end of this thing.
Well, we will certainly be looking for you whenever you decide to make that move. And Christian, it's great to have you up in the booth, but it's great to see you behind the wheel as well. Good luck to yourself and all your teammates down there at Full Send Motorsports, my friend.
Thanks, and good luck up in the booth there for Ryan, and I think it's Terry too as well. So good luck to you guys.
I go by Hanover when I race, but yeah, the senior citizen, as you guys call me in the other series.
All right.
Well, good luck to you guys up in the booth.
Heart
I'm gonna have to watch it back.
No heart medication here, dude.
Well, always great to be joined in the booth by one of the drivers out there on the track, and certainly Christian been running the Full Send Motorsports team for quite a while, and it's kind of been disheartening for him to have to step out of the cockpit. I don't know if either one of you guys have had to go through a serious injury while you've been sim racing and have to sit out for a period of time, but it's been a real bummer. Fortunately, like in real life racing, we've gotten a chance to have him up here in the booth and not only do the NORA broadcast, but come over and do the Icon broadcast. That's been a lot of fun, but just to get him back out there behind the wheel again, even if it's at a track like this where you pretty much just put your right foot down, it's a lot easier for him. It's just great to get one of the drivers back out there that's had some, had to sit on the sidelines. But you certainly understand where I'm coming from. It kind of brings a tear to your eye to see the guy be able to get back out there and race after having to sit out for so long. But here we go, guys. We're about to set up for stage number 2. And Dustin Kleba, Eric Sable, Cody Reeder, Torrance Schertz, and Chad Engel, your top 5 coming back to the green flag. Barney the Flagman with the green flag in the air. And we are officially underway for stage number 2 here at Talladega.
Yeah, they're back at it. This stage is going to be the same length as the first stage, so we won't see any fuel mileage come into play. Obviously, things got a little bit more aggressive toward the end there. Not sure if these guys had their fill of some skittish moments, but thankfully everyone was able to control their vehicles. We'll see what they're up to here as we get back to green.
It's already looking pretty racy. Look, we've got 3 lines already formed. We haven't even made it a lap yet. So is this going to be the new normal here for the Truck Series at Talladega? We're just going to run 3 wide. We saw mostly 2 wide last night in Icon, and then, of course, when everybody was fuel saving, we just saw one single line going all the way back, everybody just trying to save fuel. But this is looking a lot racier here tonight, guys.
Yeah, it was a little unusual last night with the fuel saving coming into play. I think it was a natural fuel saving for the first stage, and then the way the caution fell, like you mentioned, made that second stage a little bit less racy than most folks wanted. But boy, they really are not saving anything here tonight. This 3 wide.
I only tried the 3rd lane last night when Ronnie Norman decided he was going to take the spot where I was, and then I kind of got up there, and again, once I got in that 3rd lane with no help, it was, see ya.
Yeah, one of the differences, too, between the NASCAR Cup car and these trucks is that spoiler, it may not look much taller, but when you're behind the wheel of that truck, it is way more difficult to be able to see in front of the car you're pushing, which can cause some issues. Definitely cost me something last night getting pushed into some other vehicles. But yeah, if you go to the in-car, you can see there's not a lot of visibility here. Coy Pennington definitely has his hands full trying to play with the throttle to stay close, but not too close. And there, oh my, yeah, we're getting 4 wide
this
here.
This is not advisable, guys. 4 wide here at Talladega. There's only 3 grooves painted onto the track, guys. There's only 3 lanes out there.
Yeah, physically
there's 3 lanes to drive in, though.
As you can see, you could do 4, maybe even 5 wide next to each other, but it is not recommended. And yeah, they quickly sort that out to get back to 3 wide. That won't last long if you do see it.
This is some,
one way or another, they'll get back around.
This is some insane racing. I mean, just to be 3 wide now going to 4 wide on occasion. I think maybe we're testing some boundaries out here to see just what we can get away with, but usually that ends in tears. Are we going to see that tonight? Hey, Megan, Kristenberry Fan Club out there in our YouTube chat room. Look who's in the lead now. It's Jake Christenberry for Prestige TRD. He's up there now trying to take his shot at immortality, possibly try to capture a stage win here in the NORA Truck Series. Of course, he's one of the playoff drivers in the NORA Cup Series that will be broadcasting here tomorrow night again. And guys, we're also seeing like kind of a break here in the field as we get back. Let's see here, the split sort of occurring at David McGuire or so. And it looks like we're seeing two different groups forming. I wonder if everybody's going to come back together, or we're going to start to see two totally separate groups forming up.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Hanover, but when I see 3x3x3 and I'm not the front or very close to it, I typically don't want anything to do with that. I'm going to back out and let them have their fun and get that left foot ready to hit the brake, because there's probably going to be some action happening in front of us.
That's how I made positions all season in Icon was, you know what, I'm just going to play the tortoise here. I'll let the hares go trip on the log. And it's worked. I've gotten a mid-pack many races that way, just being patient. So, whoops, we're going to have some blending problems. Oh, no, he made it back in.
Yeah, we see Coy Pennington duck to the inside there. I don't think he meant to do that. And obviously had trouble getting back in line, but he's back up there now. And boy, look at these stands. Jam-packed here for the Truck Series race here, and they're getting their money's worth with this 3-wide running up front.
Well, we booked them in that 3-race package for Icon and the trucks here in NORA, and then the NORA Cup Series. So they're getting a great value, these virtual fans. So they come out here, they got their campers, they stay overnight. It's really great, and even the backstretch grandstands completely packed. So we certainly appreciate the shout out. Standing room only there above the grassy section. It's
and you know, Trevor, the one thing that really astonishes me is that no one has moved. No one's gone to the restroom since the start of this race. That's how exciting it's been.
That is some die-hard racing fans. In fact, even in the stands, they appear to all be standing. Nobody has sat down yet, and nobody's eating, and nobody's going to the restroom. These are some dedicated fans that show up for these NORA Truck Series races. But Torrin Shirts out there in the lead for BS Motorsports. He's in this championship hunt. We may not be calling his name all the time, but here he is. And he is holding on right now as Dustin Kleba for KPR Motorsports comes up and gives a challenge for that position as well. Mark Bremkamp, Jake Christenberry in that second row back there, and then Christopher Heitz and Cody Reeder now up at the front of this one.
One thing to note here, Trevor, is when we do get to the end of this stage in about 11 laps, the cars will pit, they'll top off on fuel, and some may take tires and some may not. In some instances, it's actually beneficial to potentially save fuel and be able to have a quicker stop and get some track position for that final stage. So I wonder if some of the cars at the back that aren't really too concerned with stage points may be saving fuel, nursing that throttle, to be able to come down, take 2 tires and maybe fuel only, gain a bunch of positions for that final stage.
I would love to know the answer to that one, and that's the $1 million question. Can you get away with just 2? Is it worth it for the track position here? We're seeing some moving around back there. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what was going on there, but we're definitely seeing some weaving here at the back.
That's Josh Conover.
Well, then I'm less surprised. But Conover, Vincent Arthur, Nick Geilis, and Todd Schneider here at the back of this field, kind of weaving around, so perhaps just trying to sort things out. But back at the front, Torn Shirts and Dustin Kleba still racing it out for the top. But certainly, taking track position, I mean, if there's like a caution with maybe like 5 laps to go, that might be the perfect time to hold on to track position. With the length of these stages, though, do you really want to risk, not coming in and getting a 4 fresh tires here for this setting up for the final stage? It's a tough call.
With the trucks, it's not so much. You actually, the tire drop off isn't that bad even through a stage. You're really not wearing them that much. And in this track, with the gear ratio, it's not so bad. Now, I learned my lesson in Icon on some of the shorter, like 1.5-mile tracks. If everybody gets tires, I want tires, because I was up in the front And boy, they're not patient while you're trying to get your tires rewarmed again.
Oh, sure.
It's not fun.
Sure, and we've
Eric
seen
Sable
that.
with a big run to the outside here.
Absolutely, huge run. Look at that, and he's got Eric Sable coming forward with one of those breast cancer awareness paint schemes in the field. Always great to have some different awarenesses throughout. But yeah, if you're one of these drivers that has to restart on old tires and everyone else around you has new tires, good luck. And it may be that if the fresh tires may be difficult to get up to temp, or it might be vice versa. If you've got the old tires and they've cooled down a bit, you might be the sitting duck on those new tires within a half a lap or so. So just depends here at Talladega. Hopefully not too much of a challenge for anybody. Look at this, 3 wide, about 7 rows deep here, 21 cars covered as we're now getting close to the end of this second stage. And I think everybody's starting to feel it. They want to come forward and possibly get those points.
It looks like it's about to be a 21-car wreck. I'm nervous just sitting here watching this. I'm glad I'm not out there with these guys, honestly. It's nerve-wracking just to be there. You feel like you're not turning the wheel much. You're just kind of focusing, trying to keep the car as straight as possible in this situation. But, you know, the heart rate goes up. You start sweating a little bit, and the nerves definitely could get the best of you. So we'll see who has nerves of steel and can potentially make their way through here to come out on top.
Well, what about you guys? I mean, we hear this all the time in real life. Some of the real life drivers, they absolutely hate this kind of racing. Do you guys like it? Do you not like it? Are you indifferent to it? What's your feeling?
Personally, for me, I would say that when you have the ability to run the bottom, the middle, or even the top, in this case, where 3 wide is working, it's a lot more fun because you can control your own destiny a little more. You can pick who you want to run with, you can push, you can lay back, and you can potentially make spots up later in the race. Over the last couple of years, especially in the Cup Series, we've seen it a little more difficult to pass. Single lane running, track position is more important. That's not as fun, right? And even the fans will say they don't want to see that 35-car train at the top of the track. But lately, it's been a lot more fun. Yeah, you can definitely push and make some moves and have some fun with it.
Well, and when we transition to the next-gen car, the next-gen nose and bumpers don't line up like they did in the Gen 6s. So it's a whole different breed of bump drafting. I mean, you have to tap it just right. Too hard, the car in front of you twitches, and everybody's looking for a clean room to get out.
Certainly. And everybody here looking for some space, but definitely the Cup car seems to be a whole different beast, and fortunately these truck machines are a little bit more forgiving in their own way, at least allowing us to run 3 wide here tonight with a lot of proficiency. And this is just exciting to see, guys. Everybody so far keeping it together. Can we make it through 2 stages with everyone staying clean? That is the question. I think we've all got our fingers crossed, and it's pretty sketchy to watch 3 wide racing around this whole racetrack, but it seems to be working.
Yeah, 4 laps to go, and we see guys changing lanes a little bit more frequently now as we're getting down to it.
And this group seems to be doing really well at leaving that buffer between the lanes. You watched any of the official Talladega races last week, and you'd see an entire lane trying to lean down and side draft, and then there'd be a caution. And then they'd try it again, there'd be a caution. But these guys are doing a real nice job of putting that little bit of cushion between so there's room for the wiggle.
That's a really good point there, Hanover. The dreaded net code, as you'll see.
Yep.
Well, hopefully we won't see tonight. We had an incident last night with net code. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. That's why you don't want to stand too close to the car's door, to the outside or inside.
Thursday night we had 2 cars morph right inside. They were like half a car out each side, and they were together. And then when it decided they were one, it shot them off in 2 different directions, and they wrecked. So yeah, net code's a killer.
I don't know. I'm white knuckling it, and I'm here in the booth, and I am nowhere near a racing wheel right now, and this is some sketchy stuff, but you guys are a lot more confident than I am at the moment.
I
And,
know we've got seen Harper up here. I don't think Harper's been this close to the front in a few laps. Trying to push Dustin Kleba to the stage win in the center line here with coming at 2 to go in the stage.
2 to go, and Reeder, Harper, and Schertz are all part of this championship contention. You see their names, of course, in the left-hand side in red. That's how you know who's still in these playoffs. Right now, fastest lap of the race set at this moment by Josh Conover, who obviously knows how to utilize that draft back in 16th place. Fast lap doesn't mean a heck of a lot here at Talladega, but it's certainly showing that things are picking up as drivers are really pushing right now to get up there to that front. And it looks like Todd Slauson, Full Send Motorsports, now up there in the top as well, up into 4th place. He's gained 18 spots here tonight. Kristen Berry now moves from the low line up into the middle, moves out in front from being in front of Todd Slauson. Kristen Berry looking for the lead.
I'll tell you that oh, it looks like we may be going 4 wide in the center here. Just going to mention Josh Conover and Vincent Arthur with their strategy to stay at the back and avoid calamity. They're stuck back there. There's nowhere they can go with these cars 3x3x3. They're going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to stage points.
Absolutely.
Well, I give Conover points because when he set that fastest lap, he was taking time to close the pit entrances. So that's multitasking there.
Oh wow.
He also is probably playing Call of Duty or MLB baseball at the same time. He loves to do that. But Kristen Berry in 3rd. Slauson now up into 2nd. Reeder in the top slot. Coming around to take, I believe this is the white flag for the stage.
No, this should be the stage.
This is it. Coming to it right now. Who's it going to be?
Slauson going to push him.
Slauson pushes him forward, but Cody Reeder will take stage number 2. So Reeder adds to his points haul for this stage as well. Congratulations on a fantastic run there. Exciting stuff in this 3-wide racing, and Reeder stays in the front. Slauson in 2nd, and I believe Tim Harper gets 3rd. Everett Couts in 4th. John Cottle will take 5th place. We're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. Don't go anywhere. By the way, if you're not already subscribed, why not? Hey, punch that subscribe button, and you'll see all the rest of the NORA Truck Series and Cup Series, as well as Icon Cup Series playoff action coming at you soon. So we'll see you back here in just a moment for the finale of this race, the Talladega EKR Designs.co 250. Be right back. and welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You've been watching it live, the EKR Designs.co 250, and we're now proud to be joined here in the booth by none other than Everett Counts himself. Hey, Everett, great to have you with us here. How's it feeling to you out there on the track, and what's the deal with EKR Designs?
Thank you for pulling me in here. The racing so far has been pretty crazy. Can't say it's been easy at all, but I'm having a good time so far. And yeah, basically EKR Designs, it's a paint scheme company I run. Well, not really company, but paint scheme, group that I run. I just launched my EKR Designs business or website, sorry. And we basically just make paint schemes for anyone who wants them. I was originally doing these on Fiverr there's different levels, so more complex ones I do for 25, and then simpler ones, but still, a good amount of detail, I do that for 10. Then sorry, I have to choose. But yeah, sorry, I can't explain it very well. I'm a little stressed out, but check out ekrdesigns.co. Anyone watching, we make really good paint schemes, and if you're interested, just let me know. I'd be happy to make one for you.
Premium paint schemes found nowhere else. Best paint schemes in the game, quick and with care. I read that on your website. I like that.
Yep.
Sounds pretty good to me. Well, good luck to you out there. It looks like you're going to be restarting. Are you starting in first? Did you get that on the choose cone, or are you starting in second here?
I think the person in front of me just pitted, so I am actually first right here.
All right. Nice job. Well, we'll be looking for you at the end of this race. Hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with you on the podium, my friend.
Hopefully, maybe I'll explain a little bit better when I'm not as stressed out from this, but...
Always difficult to do the interview while you're driving. I certainly understand. I'll send you back to JRC. We appreciate it. We'll look for you out there on the track.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So that is Everett Counts, and he's been doing a fantastic job out there. He's climbed up all the way through the field now, it looks like twice. But what an amazing thing to be starting a design business, and certainly still going out there and racing each and every week. And EKR Designs.co is the sponsor of tonight's race, so make sure to pull up EKRDesigns.co and get your designs done. And guys, everybody has a wrap to do for your car, your truck, whatever. He can do it over at EKR. But right now, this has been some insanely good racing out there. I am all set and buckled in for the remainder of this race. Let's kick it off one more time here at Talladega. Everett Coutts going to lead the way back to the green flag.
Yeah, good-looking paint scheme up there on the 32. Takes the lead here and starts the final stage of this race.
Looks like the number 3 truck kind of either missed a gear or missed his start, because he slid back and that whole inside line had to kind of shuffle.
Well, that'd be Vincent Arthur. That's interesting. No, he doesn't usually run these trucks. Usually running the Cup Series, but very talented. He's won multiple races in a row over in the Cup Series, so it's great to have him in the field. But certainly, as you know, guys, it is possible to miss a shift.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, these are H-pattern 4-speed transmissions, quite a bit different from the Cup car with the sequential shifter. So if you're not used to it, you haven't run it in a while, it definitely takes a little bit more finesse than your luxurious sequential shifter in the Cup car.
Well, and the roll-up sometimes, you'll try to be right at the guy in front of his bumper, and then he'll kind of lift just a tad. So about the minute you take your foot off the gas, then the whole pack takes off. And now by the time you get back and slam down the gas, there you go, you got a gap in front of you. Sometimes on super speedways that actually helps, because that gives you that little bit of run-up, but most times it hurts you.
One thing to note too here, we were talking to Everett just before we went green. Do you think these guys aren't a little bit stressed maybe? I don't know if you could tell by the tone of his voice there. It seemed like he was a little bit out of his comfort zone here coming to the final stage.
Well, I was going to tell him he needs to breathe and release the death grip on the wheel once in a while.
Yeah, there's a reason why I don't stream live when I race. I would love to, but I just can't do 3 things at once. I'm in the zone. I'm way too focused on what's going on. Just like you mentioned Hanover, I have to breathe. I got to go through breathing exercises when I'm doing sim racing. I mean, I'm just too caught up in the moment, so I can certainly understand some of these drivers when we ask them to do in-car interviews. It's a bit much. But nevertheless, Everett's doing a bang-up job and right now hanging on to 5th place. Either one of you guys get a little stressed out behind the wheel when you're in these races?
Oh yeah, heart rate goes up. I mean, if you're in the middle lane and the outside lanes, in the cup cars or the trucks, and both lanes are wiggling and you're stuck there, there's no exit. So you're hanging on, just trying to maintain where you're at. Oh, that heart rate definitely goes up.
No, I don't sweat. Never sweat. No, I love these races too much. Yeah, it may be different if I was actually strapped into a vehicle that was traveling at close to 200 miles an hour, but here in the luxury of my own home, where there's no physical danger to worry about, I'm just out there having a blast.
I'm just kind of worried about screwing up, to be honest. I mean, I know that shouldn't be going through your mind, but 200 plus miles an hour. I do a lot of the IndyCar stuff too when I do get the time to go out there and race, and it's that same sort of thing. You're so close to everybody. It's such a, just the smallest of mistakes and you're taking out most of the field. Here, watching these guys racing at, inches apart, 190 miles an hour around this Talladega Super Speedway. Just the smallest mistake in bump drafting or choosing a lane, and all of a sudden you're not just taking yourself out, you're taking a bunch of trucks with you as well.
And don't look now, but we've got a 3-car leading the field here in Daytona. Vincent Arthur has made his way to the front of this field.
That certainly is exciting stuff for everybody standing up and holding their 3 up in salute for Sir, remembering Dale Earnhardt and the number of races that he won and led here at Talladega Super Speedway. Great to see Vincent out there with the salute at Flatline to Dale Earnhardt.
So we're a handful of laps away here from our pit window opening, as Vincent gets a little bit close to the outside lane. But we'll be curious to see. Do some drivers maybe duck down early, top off with fuel to be able to make it to the end and stay out of the big pack, or do most of these drivers run the tank completely dry and go all the way to the end of the run?
Well, would you want to bail out of the pack if it meant that you were going to be by yourself? Certainly if you had some team members to go out there and draft with, maybe that might be a call that you could make, and that could potentially work out for you. But if it were me, I don't know that I would make the undercut call here certainly if it was by myself. I'd have to work with at least 2, 3, 4 other drivers, and then maybe we'd have a chance at it. But this draft, if you get caught off of this draft, it's worth 3, 4, 5 miles per hour potentially if you stay with this draft pack up here. But if you drop off, I mean, you're going to lose a lot. You definitely will lose. So what do you think? I mean, is there an advantage? Am I missing something to maybe undercutting, coming in, getting your work done, and going out there with a couple of your teammates?
Well, you're only as good on your pit stop as your slowest member is getting in, getting out. Because if 3 guys out of 4 hit their spot, their mark, they get their stuff, and they're going, and the last guy is waiting, there are times you go, sorry, teammate, and the 3 have to go by themselves. But yeah, it's timing, trying to get it so that you as a group pull off, and when you come back, you're able to join and catch the main pack again for that draft. Because if you get out of sequence and you fall, you're stuck running as that little group the whole time until everybody else decides to start coming in for fuel.
It's an excellent point. The execution that it takes to get on and off of pit road as a group is a lot more precise when you've got a pack of 3, 4, 5, 6 cars that are trying to try a separate strategy. And we see people running up and down pit road here. There's a lot of radio communications between these teams to align with when they want to come in, because the last thing that anyone on the track wants to do is come in here and pit by yourself. It's the loneliest feeling in the world.
Last night when the members of a group went in, they almost had a boo-boo and wrecked each other too, where, you know, that could have been a disastrous pit stop for the entire team.
Certainly got to keep all of those factors in mind, and yet at the same time still race at 180 miles an hour. Like you said, you're cool as a cucumber out there, Ryan, but right now some folks are stressing every single move that they make out there on the track and just trying to figure out where they want to position themselves, what kind of strategy. I mean, you might feel out the race too. I mean, so far everyone's been so careful that I hesitate to even mention these words, but what if it does go green flag all the way to the end? I mean, it's been that clean so far. Why not? It could. So if so, then that's going to be a whole different strategy than if we've barely been able to go, say, 5 or 8 laps without a crash. And so far, it's been definitely a lot cleaner.
I see no reason why it couldn't. These drivers have shown tremendous skill to be able to keep 2 and 3 wide racing lap after lap here. It is a question, you know, sometimes fatigue may set in. May not be as sharp at the end of the race as you were at the beginning, but yeah, when I'm in this situation also, I'm always trying to see how do I get to the bottom of the track. And we've seen a lot of drivers down here on the bottom lane really haven't made any moves and are maintaining their position because you have to pit. It's the only way down. And as I say that, the one car goes all the way to the outside wall, and Slauson is slicing his way to the front here.
Slauson, slicing and dicing, moves it into second in the second groove and tries to now take a look at possibly going up there and putting that Full Send Motorsports car truck up into the top position. He's got some good help behind him in Brian Jones, current leader in the overall championship in points, but of course Sable already moved into the next round of the playoffs with that win. But Everett Couts now takes over second position as he's doing a good job of pushing Vincent Arthur. Couts up 19 spots, Slauson 19 spots, Brian Jones up 11 spots, Torrance Shirts back there up 10. So a lot of these drivers doing some great jobs coming forward. And we heard what Christian had to say at the break a little while ago. He was saying Full Send Motorsports was planning to hang back and they would come forward here at the end of the race. Well, how about Martin Plute now running in 11th place? He's doing the same thing. He's come forward from the back. And how long until we see possibly Christian Snyder? Snyder's all the way back here in 25th, but you know he'll make that move at some point. 40 laps remaining, and it's just a matter of time before you pull that pin out of the grenade.
Oh, they're going around.
Oh, we've got multiple trucks involved.
Oh, no.
Looks like Mark
93 car was
Bremkamp,
heavy hit.
David McGuire, Christopher Heights, Eric Sable, Dustin Kleba involved in this one. Christian Snyder picking his way through that mess.
Mark Bremkamp with the entire front of his car torn off. A lot of damage to that vehicle. Truck, I should say.
So Sable, you can see the front of his truck is quite a mess. There you see Bremkamp's machine. It was so beautiful early on. Always loved that paint scheme, and now that is just... that's a mess. I don't know if you load that one on the hauler or take it straight to the junk heap after that. Look at that. It is missing most of the front of that, and it is bouncing around. Well, let's go ahead and take a look. You know, I dared to talk about how clean it was, and that was my mistake.
You didn't use the C word. You didn't announce or curse him. You didn't use the C word anyway.
I tried not to, but you never know. Sometimes I'd start talking about, hey, we could go green flag till the end, and look at what I've done. But here we go. Take a look from overhead, and I believe it starts up in front. I can see already, it looks like Jake Christenberry came down the track. We'll have to back this one up and take a look as Gladelich had to go off track. So now we'll take a look at Christenberry, who's now pulled it into the pits. And
It looked like Brian Jones, actually this started a little bit before that. Brian Jones was kind of caught in no man's land between the second and the third lane. And when he cut up in front of the 93 truck, didn't really give him enough time to check up. And that that definitely led to a little bit of calamity. Put in the 45 in the wall, and 93 turned down on the inside.
And there you see the 93 getting caught up with that 45, and then he'll bring it down into the 33 of Torrid Shirts, and then further down the track.
Kind of looked like he wanted to change lanes, but as he didn't estimate the distance to the truck in front of him quite right, because as he started to go down is when he caught that right rear of the truck in front, the 45.
And some massive damage there to some of these vehicles. Let's go ahead, back it up, and watch on board as we can see what happens to Kristen Berry. Already caught up in the incident there, and then he goes up into the wall. A huge hit. And it sounds like he punched in the engine as well. Oh, my.
And Eric Sable with absolutely nowhere to go, just riding in the outside lane. These cars go low and landed right in his kitchen, basically.
Well, this was last week's winner, Eric Sable.
You see, it looks like he tries to avoid. You see some calamity, goes high, and then boom. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, going high doesn't always work, because about the time you do, then everything down below suddenly turns up towards you. Kind of like a Brad thing this weekend.
Yeah, that was scary this weekend, but Bremkamp, big hit into the outside wall. Good thing this...
Who is that? Stephen Hanning did a fantastic job. If we can go to Stephen Hanning's in-car for this, I don't think there's a scratch on it. He woke up, and it was basically calamity going every which way in front of him. Tries to go high. Oh my goodness, look at this. Right by in front of his bumper. The 93 spinning away, and then comes out clean as a cucumber.
I saw that view last night.
Exactly. Sometimes better to be lucky than necessarily good and at the front of the pack, and there he survives our first big caution of the night, and with that, it's going to wipe out a few of the trucks that were up at the front. Right now, sitting on pit lane, there's Christopher Heights, who got caught up. Anthony Campbell has been sitting there on pit lane for a little while, but he gets it going again. Eric Sable manages to get back out there on the track, and they've done a pretty great job repairing that machine. Mark Bremkamp, however, he is out of that machine, and that may be all she wrote. Kristen Berry, there you see the damage still on his machine as well. And now you see Gladelich, Vincent Arthur, Nick Geilis pulling into the pits to top off and perhaps decide to take on some fresh tires. Dustin Kleba and Brian Jones also taking on some, I assume he had some damage from that incident, so perhaps getting a little bit of damage repaired as well.
They may be topping off here just in case of green-white checkers, just to make sure they have that extra fuel.
Yeah.
Should we go the extra distance? And lights are out on the pace car, so we'll be coming to the choose cone on the backstretch.
Well, certainly these other drivers going to be catching up here in a moment. Give a big shout out to Brennan Jenks, who checks in with us over on YouTube. Hey, thanks for the shout out. So close last night. Indeed, my friend. Almost there for the win, but hey, I'll say it. Congratulations on a second at a race like this, or really any track with this high a level of competition as in here and over in Icon. Congratulations on getting second place. That was well deserved. Nathan Finnegan, we got the Icon boys in the booth. Well, Mr. Race winner Nathan Finnegan checking in with us. Of course, that's 2 in a row for Nathan, and he's pretty much the BMOC over there in Icon right now. But great to have you joining us, Nathan. And McGillicuddy, I want to race in this. Well, I don't blame you. This is some exciting stuff. I'm not sure that I mean, this would be one that I'd show up for if I was in the league, and I'd give it my best. But, these white knuckle races, I tell you.
Trevor, believe it or not, there are some leagues out there that solely will race restricted plates every week.
Boy.
Some 2 nights a week. That's all they do.
It's just too much white knuckle for me. I tell you, I don't know if I can handle it. This is a lot of high tension. You make one wrong move pushing somebody or getting pushed and your night's over. But hey, it's to each their own. Some people specialize in this. Here we go. We're back underway here after that caution. Todd Slauson leads us back to the green flag, and his teammate over at Full Send Motorsports tonight, Martin Plute, in second.
They head off into turn one. Interesting part about these restarts, it's not about getting a big lead. You definitely don't want to get too far out in front of these cars. So we'll see as they pull out and they pick and choose who they want to run with. That first lane seems to be formed up pretty well, but boy, that 5 car is giving the 32 quite a push.
I've watched many a driver shoot away from the field on that restart, and you're just going, sucker, because the pack's coming. Quick one. I rode for quite a while behind Nathan last night. I keep giving him a hard time about his paint job. Said it makes his butt look big in that paint. And he pammed me back today, and he goes, yeah, but as long as I keep winning, I'm keeping that paint.
Yeah, he's a driver known for keeping one paint scheme for the majority of the season, so you never really have a hard time finding him on the track.
And he's also probably going to be wearing the same lucky underwear and the same lucky socks. all keep as much of that, whatever the juju is that gets you the 2 wins in a row, you got to keep it going. You take the same number of steps getting into and out of the cockpit. Anything you can to keep that mojo happen. Todd Slauson, Martin Plute, teammates still holding on here at the front and owning the front of this Talladega race. EKR Designs.co 250 as we're continuing to work our way through here. Just about, we're just 34 laps now left to go in this one. And a lot of these drivers, they did get in, get the fuel that they need. They got the tires. It'll be interesting to see if there is a yellow that comes out before the end of this one or before we get to the white flag, whether anybody does come in for that last fresh tires. But we've got a long ways to go until then. Vincent Arthur now moves up towards the front. He's in the top lane. And then you see Coy Pennington has moved his way back into this one as well. Not afraid to take it to that center groove. Meanwhile, Everett Couts on that low line, leading the charge around this tri-oval once again.
Yeah, one thing I was wondering is with all those damaged cars, if we were going to see some slow vehicles around the track, but it looks like everyone is able to maintain in the lead pack here. So long as there's no big checkups or any almost incidents, we should see one lead pack here through to the finish.
You proved that last night, Ryan. You had that wrinkled nose. You just kept tucked behind people. As long as you did, you were fine.
Yeah, there is a limit to that, though. At some point, the car won't hang on to the draft. But looks like everybody's good except, again, Eric Sable, Jake Christenberry, and Mark Bremkamp are out of the race. Oh, I'm sorry. Eric Sable is only 1 lap down. So it looks like he's still in the race.
Points is points. Looking at the numbers, if they gave me the right numbers at 31.5 laps,
yeah,
that caution came almost too early. I still think that they're still going to have to go in at least for a splash and go.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I was just digging into that information myself, and this is kind of eerily similar to when that caution came out last night in the Icon Cup Series race. It was just a little too early to guarantee that everyone could make it without some severe fuel savings. So deja vu for some of these drivers that were present last night, and certainly Christian Snyder was up here in the booth last night, and we were both watching this fuel strategy unfold. So we'll see who, if this does stay green until the end, who is the fuel-saving master here of the NORA Truck Series.
I'll tell you where you don't want to be, and that's where the 3 and the 5 car are right now. Vincent Arthur and Coy Pennington, I'm sure they feel like Superman being out in the lead, but in order to keep that lead, you've got to keep that gas pedal all the way to the floor, and we're going to burn quite a bit more than everyone else back in the pack.
Yep. Yeah, the minute you're up there in that wind, you know, again, last night, same thing, where you were in the middle of the pack, you were half throttling, maybe rolling up to 3/4. If you're in front, that pedal is held down as hard as you go to the point where you get a foot cramp.
Yeah,
and I've done that.
Me too. That's another thing I've realized in doing these plate races is you got to have a strong right foot. You got to be ready to go to plant that thing for the entire race. It sounds easy to just keep your right foot down the whole race, but I tell you, when you get the caution, you get to take your foot off of the throttle a little bit. It feels good.
Well, I had to convert. I had to swap my brake pedal, my old analog brake pedal, for my throttle pedal, and it's a stronger spring. First super speedway track we ran, let me tell you, I got out of my rig and my right foot was killing me.
These drivers right now having to flat-foot it, but at the same time, they're now having to calculate and do some fuel mileage. And, of course, that is a tool. We've got trucks around. Martin Plute involved.
Oh, hard hit to the inside wall.
Several drivers involved in this. Plute, Danielson, Torrance Shirts, one of our championship drivers, involved in this one as well. And Plute, who was having such a good run up in the top 10, also having an issue. Danielson already now pulling it, taking the tow back into the pits, and you can see exactly why. Guys, let's back this one up, see if we can figure out exactly what went down.
Like John Cottle changed lanes, came down right into, is that Corey Danielson? And that sent everybody into a melee. Right across the nose.
Oh, he was pushing too hard. He got it to wiggle. He got pushing and he got wiggling, and when it did, the lead truck snapped one way and it forced his truck into the lower lane from the looks of it.
Unfortunate.
There was another car back in the field that took a hard impact to the inside wall.
Yeah, last thing you want to see is that white clouds in front of you.
Wow, Snyder just barely getting through. I think he made a little bit of contact there, but as we take a look here at Bremkamp, I'm sorry, at Plute, and we go on board, you'll see a little bit more of exactly what he saw as he gets turned into the 33. Spinning around, say, there's my mom.
That is a helpless feeling.
My mom in the stands, and there's the vendor in pit road, and there's my mom in the stands, and then there's the vendor again, and then he gets it back underway.
One of the benefits here at Talladega is that the backstretch is mainly paved. It's unlike Daytona, where if you do get turned sideways, you have the chance of catching the grass and maybe even flipping the car over. We're going to see a big impact here. He thinks he's in the clear, and then straight to the inside wall. It's going to be a ton of front-end damage for Corey Danielson. He may not be able to continue after that.
Well, and you hear the engine go out as well.
Yeah, once he started to slide, you're pretty much a passenger. Nothing you're going to do is going to correct it at that speed. It's going to that wall.
Yeah, as a driver, when you do get turned on the backstretch, what I was getting at with all the pavement there is sometimes if you get spun and you either correct it or just lock down the brakes, you may spin to a stop. But you're always clenched, and that's Trevor, that's the part where I'm the most nervous. If I do get spun, hoping everyone can avoid me and I don't get hit by someone going full speed. But unfortunately there, he thought he had it saved, but they were still wrecking in front of him and turned him into the wall.
Always tricky to get through one of these plate races without some sort of incident, and you hope that if you are involved, it's just a minor glancing blow. Unfortunately for Corey Danielson and Martin Plute, I don't know that this is just a glancing blow, as he's sitting now on pit road once again. Torrance Shirts on pit road. Eric Sable, Dustin Kleba still on pit road. And Kleba's machine is not looking good on that left front.
Yeah, Torrance Shirts also took an added shot right at the end of that wreck at the outside wall. So he's got some additional damage on both ends of the race car.
But what this does do is completely eradicate our fuel saving situation. So back to 3 wide we come because there's no more fuel saving necessary to make it to the end.
Unless there's a green-white checkered, and then they're going to be close. iRacing added it now so that you can tell it to just fill enough. And if you don't go in there and add a little bit, it's going to add 1 lap to the end of the race. It doesn't figure in the green, white, checkered. So, you can bite yourself by not doing your pre-race maintenance too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of the factors that I was actually just starting to talk about before this incident is we do have the ability to use software, and this is a brand new addition in iRacing to be able to fill the tank up and then give you either a margin lap or 2 laps or whatever you want it to give you. But there's been other softwares that have been able to do this over time, and yet then there's still the good old-fashioned way where you just manually add it all up in your head and try to do the math and make it work that way. Either of you guys using special software? Do you use what's built into iRacing?
No, I use special software. Well, I use actually a couple. I have one as my spotter, crew chief, and it also with one button I can do admin functions or make any changes in the vehicle, which even when you're pacing around, especially if you're damaged or whatever, with your wheels all cocked, it's hard to like run that mouse and go click what changes you want. So it does come in very handy.
Yeah, for me, I'm a traditionalist. I still use the basic iRacing software. I don't have any companion software myself. Maybe that's my own detriment. I know I was talking to Nathan Finnegan in the garage a couple weeks ago. Now I don't even pay attention to track temp and weather conditions, which is probably to my detriment. Probably should start paying attention to that, but yeah, I just never really have.
Well, does it always work for you? Do you find that it's sometimes off in its calculations?
The iRacing software, it's kind of like a family member. You gotta get to know it and understand when it's being truthful and maybe when to read between the lines. I've only ever used it for years, so it's never burned me. I'll say that.
Well, let's hope no one gets burned here in this race as Vincent Arthur for Flatline Motorsports and his new teammate over there, Coy Pennington, head out there to lead the way back to the green flag. A lot of these drivers going to have to make it all the way until the end. And let's hope that they have enough gas on board to do so. Here we go. Nick Geilis for Nightmare Motorsports forms up there into second place. Everett Couch for JRC now up into third. As that outside line with Coy Pennington starts to slide backwards in the early going here as everybody's just getting up to speed.
Yeah,
and some of the guys who are right.
Sorry about that, Hanover. Just noting that the field's a little bit smaller than it was previously, so not as many cars here to worry about in the front of the field.
And some of those trucks that you were watching pace themselves in that back group are now up in this lead group fighting. So, see, sometimes the tortoise just waits for the hares to trip.
Well, and now you can see David McGuire doing a little bit of pushing on Coy Pennington as he begins to push him up towards the front once again. So that outside line starting to form up again. And how long until we see that third line start to form and we start to click off the laps heading down our way towards the finale of this EKR Designs.co 250.
Yeah, you wonder if some of these drivers have seen a couple wrecks. Maybe they're a little bit skittish here. They want to take it easy for a little while and make sure they get to the finish.
Well, check in with Christian Snyder. He's currently running back here in 16th position, make that 15th. Running in that outside line. Question mark as to when is the right time to move forward, if you can do so, because it's not like you could just drive around everybody and go up to the front. But we'll see whether or not this is the time to go. 25 to go this time at the line. There's that third line. We were thinking there'd be the third line that would start to show up, and it popped open there for just a second.
It did, yeah. We're seeing a little bit of energy. Everyone's popping out and back in. I think there's some folks that want to make a move. Let's see who that is on the outside. Make that third lane. It's the 38 car of Anthony Campbell trying to make a move on the outside. But looks like he's going to get hung out to dry with no help.
You guys familiar with Anthony Campbell?
Yep.
Yeah, Anthony Campbell from the Icon Cup Series. Very good driver. He was new, came over about halfway through the season, but brought a lot of flavor to the team.
joining Harper Motorsports, and it's been a great expansive thing for him. He's had some good runs over in Icon, and now doing the same thing over here in NORA. But wow, 3 wide here in the mid-pack. Tight racing.
Our very own Christian Snyder with one heck of a push into the back of the 23. It looked like he didn't lift at all. Normally you like to ease into a car as you get up to their back bumper and push him, but he gave that 23 a shot.
The bump never helps. That cushioned roll in is what everybody in front wants. So they do not want to feel the back of their vehicle wiggle, because usually it's bad news right after that.
And so Christian was talking before the race about how temperatures when pushing are going to be an issue, that you can't really lock onto the bumper. So I wonder if his approach is to maybe tap, 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 as opposed to give one solid push.
Well, when you can make that air bubble between them work, I was doing that a lot last night, because you have no idea if the vehicle in front of you is actually leaning on the vehicle.
Oh, 22.
And that's Todd Slauson, who gets turned around in the middle of this group. We've got multiple cars involved here.
Oh, no. Yeah, it looks like the 22 is missing his rear bumper. He got a pretty good shot.
Brian Jones, Christopher Heights, Torrin Shirts. Shirts already back going towards pit lane, and Brian Jones. Let's check. Oh my goodness, that 45's nose is completely gone.
That was where that started. The 22 was in the middle lane pushing Coy Pennington, and then looks like the 45 either didn't have time to check up or was trying to make it 4 wide, but Brian Jones definitely got the worst end of that one.
Well, let's see here. I'm gonna step back a ways. This happened. Try not to go too far back here, but I've got notes going back that there was some off tracks going way back. So let's see what this was all about. This was Conover. And I guess everything just sort of coinciding, but Conover rolling through that mess and then getting tagged.
Oh, no.
But let's start with where the incident occurred, which was with Slauson.
It looked like if we go back to after the start-finish line, we'll see them into turn 1. Yeah, and the 45 just kind of got stacked up. And didn't really have many options of where to go.
We see the 22 behind the 5. We see the 75 coming up on the outside. And the 22, I think, just doesn't see that Brian Jones is there in the 45. And he comes down.
That may even have been a little net code, because I didn't see actual solid contact. Looked like he just got up real close, and then the other truck reacted. You know, we all that race, we know about the net code.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't net code, it was probably going to be net code shortly after that. Yeah, he may have made it right there.
Yeah, the other dude made it look like he gave him just a little gap. But again, you can never tell which it is. It just, they all react the same way. It just goes bad really quick.
Yep, and you see Brian Jones slide into the grass there with Josh Conover comes by, takes the front bumper off. Boy, we said it before, guys. 4 wide, just never really a good idea. It's not going to be something that you want to be trying here.
No, and you've got to be patient, and some of these drivers, it's starting to near the end of the race, and they're certainly not feeling as patient as they were at the beginning of this race. Once we get into the situation where you got to start pushing your way forward, it's a little easier said than done to remain patient through the end of the race. But Slauson manages to get it going again. I don't think he got, I mean, look at that truck. It's still together.
Little wrinkled.
A little wrinkled. Brian Jones, as we mentioned, has problems with that machine. Josh Conover saw a little bit of damage, but it seems to still be intact and drivable. And Eric Sable, that thing was wrinkled earlier, and it's still wrinkled. As we see Slauson still sitting on pit lane. Dustin Kleba has also made his way into the pits again. Conover in the pits now. Still got a beauty mark on the right-hand side of that truck.
It's like Ronnie Norman caught some damage in that as well. Not as bad as it could have been, but he's got some wrinkles on his fenders.
I had to laugh earlier when you were telling Christian's position at Talladega. He's 15th. No, he's 14th. No, he's 15th. No, he's 16th. You can't tell because it changes within a half a second.
Indeed, it's a quick moving game, especially when they're 2 and 3 wide out there. And now, as we get down to 20 laps to go, this is going to be interesting to see whether these drivers can keep it together. It's easier said than done as we get down to go time, and everybody's going to want to position themselves for the end of this. Now, again, we're talking about the championship picture. You look at the top 10, and there's only one championship driver remaining in this top 10, and that is Jacob Gladelich. So obviously we're going to see a lot of moving and shaking and slicing and dicing here from some of these drivers coming forward.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot of cars out there that don't have some sort of damage throughout this race. So it'll be interesting to see who's got the speed left in their vehicle, who's got the aerodynamics and the fenders, keeping their car in good shape. We mentioned it earlier. Being at the front can be a great place to be when there's a wreck. One spins and crashes behind you. And that wreck particular too, we talk about how the bottom can be a good place to run when you're 3 wide or 2 wide because you've got a quick exit to go to the apron, but it was exactly the opposite in that case. All the cars spun down to the inside and the top lane got away scot-free.
Well, this is going to be it. Coming down to it, 20 laps to go on VirtualRacing.Network. So great to have everybody joining us here on YouTube Live. If you're not watching us live tonight, want to make sure to mark it on your calendars, or even better yet, hit the big subscribe button. Then you get notified of it. I got a big ding on my phone, said VirtualRacing.Network's going live in 30 minutes. I'm like, I know that. I better be in my seat ready to punch it live. But for you folks out there, makes it nice and easy to schedule that way. Also, feel free to like this video. Gets it out there to more of the YouTubeosphere so that more and more folks can discover this great racing, including the NORA Truck Series. And tomorrow night, the NORA Cup Series in their playoffs, going to be right back here at Talladega, making 3 in a row great races of drafting, and so you won't want to miss it. Same place tomorrow night on VirtualRacing.Network at 8:25 Eastern Time. Right here, we'll be back with Christian Snyder in the booth. Pace car is off, and we're about ready to possibly finish this one up. Maybe under green, maybe not, but we'll give it another shot. The EKR Designs.co250 back underway here as the green flag is now in the hands of Barney the Flag Man. And we're go once again at Talladega.
Yeah, the inside lane, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but we had a very short amount of cars on that lane. I don't know if some folks missed the choose cone or not, but it was an awkward looking restart there. So we'll see how they get formed up here. Inside of 20 to go, I imagine we're going to get back 3 wide here really quickly.
It was a very loose restart. I guess not as many people concerned with being up there at the front at the restart as I was thinking, but then again, now they know what the draft is going to do, and I'm sure there's no exact rush in the first lap to get up there and try and take over the top spot.
Well, Nick Geilis and Vincent Arthur definitely got something going on here. Geilis has been a great pusher so far here. Seems to know when to lock onto the bumper and when not to. We were talking earlier about how that tri-oval can be a little bit unsteady, so maybe you back off, push again in the short shoots, back off in the turns, and then we'll see how he can manage that and also manage the engine temps as we get down the end of this thing.
Well, how about Vincent Arthur coming out here? He's, as I've mentioned, he's already in the next round of the playoffs in the NORA Cup Series, and not a surprise to see him come out here in the trucks. We just haven't seen him for this season out here in the trucks. I want to say he did make a start, but that was earlier in the season, and he is not a regular here in the trucks, but here he is out in front leading this race. Nick Geilis for Nightmare Motorsports. He took the race win in Daytona, so he knows his way around these plate tracks, but here he is doing a good push job on Vincent Arthur. And behind Everett Couts for the JRC Sim team, he's holding up well in the front end of this race. But now we're 3 wide once again. We've got that middle groove cooking with Coy Pennington in the lead of that line, and I believe Christian Snyder has joined that outside line and is now looking to push on Martin Plute, his teammate, as they try to send it forward and position themselves for the end of this race.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're probably going to see that 75 and 8 car coming to the front here really quickly, and you've got Josh Conover hanging right onto the back of them. So they've got some momentum in that high line. We'll see just what kind of speed there is up there.
Oh,
and
it's
that fuel
crazy.
mileage thing is out the window at this point.
Certainly, and that's to a lot of these drivers' happiness that they don't have to keep watching that needle. But
Oh, yeah.
But nevertheless, they get to race for it, and that means edge of your seat excitement. I hope you have your favorite beverage in hand and you're ready to watch the end of this one, as we are 3 wide, and I think it's going to be that way until the very last lap. But here we
Coy
go.
Pennington just cut Christian Snyder a big break there. He cut down in front of him with not enough room, and eventually gave him a shot to get him out of the lane. So that broke up that tandem of Martin Plute and Christian Snyder in the third to almost second lane.
Plute leading Coy Pennington now, and now he'll go up to the top line. You see David McGuire now pushing Pennington.
Vincent Arthur trying to block both the bottom and the middle lane, maybe losing the lead here. Although here he comes again with Coy Pennington giving him a pretty good push. And now Christian Snyder back hooked up with Martin Plute in the top lane.
Scary thing is being in that third lane in a group of 4 or 5 vehicles coming around the outside and have somebody step up, because the minute they step up there with that gap, they're slower. So now that whole group has to, that whole group has to blend up against it without wrecking. So that can be a real nerve-wracker.
So here's one of the things too, with Christian Snyder spending so much time at the back of this field, he may not be as well practiced with pushing in such a big pack. So we just saw him get into the wall there. I don't think it hurt the truck too much, but yeah, maybe just doesn't quite have as much practice as some of these guys that have been up here all night.
Oh, it's true, and he's been out of the cockpit for a little while. He's certainly very experienced as a sim racer, going back, multiple years, but definitely, you got to shake the rust off, and this is the tricky place to do it at. You got to time those pushes just right, and it's one of those things that if you do, half a dozen to a dozen of these races in a normal season in official racing, you get that kind of practice. But if you've been out of the cockpit for a while, it takes some time to get back up to speed and get the sense and the feel for exactly how hard to push and exactly when to push.
And we've got Todd Schneider getting up into this lead group now. I don't think we've seen that 86 car up front all night.
How about Ronnie Norman? Stormin' Ronnie Norman now up into the lead for the JRC Sim team, up 19 positions.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. He was sideways in the grass in that last wreck, but looks like they got the old bear bond out and fixed that front fender, and he's out there leading the pack.
That's something they do very well down at JRC/Flatline. You know how to get the gap setter, which is the 20-pound sledge out, and that bear bond, and they just work miracles down there. But Coy Pennington...
And is that Eric Sable? Eric Sable had some big damage. Man, they fixed that truck in a hurry.
He really did. That thing was all kinds of broken.
No,
and
big hit.
Oh, this
big
is,
hit.
Unfortunately, this is the big one here, catching out multiple of these trucks. Eric Sable, I noticed you were just talking about how beautiful that truck had gotten.
Oh, the jinx. And Ronnie Norman backing down the front stretch in rough shape. I think that might have ended Ronnie Norman's night.
And that is unfortunate. Are we going to watch him tow back? Yes, indeed. Yep. He's decided to pull it back, well, right out of the lead. And this was, guys, this is something that you hope doesn't happen, where it takes out several of the front-running drivers. But it's part of the nature of the beast. You're running this close, 3 wide.
Yeah, we've seen this wreck happen so many times in all the different series. Someone gets a push in the wrong spot, turns them sideways, and they hook that inside line straight into that outside wall. That is a huge hit for Ronnie Norman.
I mean, to me, I'm not equipped to make this call, but it does look like the push came from Coy Pennington, and it just knocked Sable a little loose there in the front.
Yeah, it's not to say Coy did anything wrong there. These cars can get so unstable, and at this point where you're pushing just so hard, you don't want to let up, especially when it's for the lead. And little Bobble comes in big trouble.
Big hit for Ronnie Norman. And, of course, several of these drivers are going to be going to the Infield Care Center, and we'll give you their condition update as soon as possible. But Norman, even in a sim rig, you want to make sure you take your hands off of the wheel. Stuff like this could really rattle it around. This is on board with the leader, Ronnie Norman. Can you imagine being in the lead of one of these races? And that's the next thing that happens. No, you've done nothing wrong.
Yes.
You didn't even take your foot out of the throttle.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, the crazy thing is it's just real surprising. And you can see here, I don't think he even hit the brakes. He just probably sat there in awe about what just happened.
This is from Christian's point of view.
Couple of bumps.
Couple of bumps. Is he going to get
up.
unsafe pit entry?
Looks like he'll take the 1X, cut a little grass, and get back on the track.
Did he clip into pit road, though?
No, I don't believe he did. The way that they measure pit road here at Talladega, he should be okay if he didn't.
Yeah, I think he missed the cone. Yeah, I've been on the last lap at this track in a cup car, in the lead, and 300 feet away. Next thing I know, I'm aiming towards the pit wall, the inside wall, and you're gone, and the field just goes by you, and that your race is gone right there.
And somehow, I don't know how, Josh Conover was about 4 rows back, and this entire wreck happened in front of him, and he was able to whoa up. Nobody got into him, and he basically had the best seat in the house to watch that wreck.
Well,
not a scratch on that truck.
We might as well check it out ourselves if it's that good. Here's what Conover saw following Christian Snyder.
He looks dead in the water right there. These cars are airborne, smoke everywhere, can't see a thing, debris flying all around. Just woes it down calmly, keeps on going.
He did a really nice braking job. He didn't panic and go into it hard and cause the truck to slide. So, yeah, it's like a fullback stutter stepping to get through the line. He just kind of stutter step, let the lineman make the opening, and then go for the hole.
Oh, man, I love the analogy. That's brilliant, Hanover. But I was going to say the exact same thing before you guys brought it up. This is something that a lot of very experienced drivers have mastered, which is to see the wreck happening in front, and instead of just trying to go full speed through it and pick and choose where to go, you come down to practically a full stop if it's necessary on track to avoid the incident.
And there. When they're bouncing especially, you're like, is he going to be there when I get there or not? If I go for it, is the door going to close? So, most of the time you're better off floating or stutter stepping and waiting for things to develop, because the minute you think you've got that, yeah, I can make it, it never works, because they're coming from both directions and you're the ice cream in the sandwich.
Well, certainly, and just a reminder to all of our viewers out there, this is where the points stack up right now. You see the drivers in red, those are the ones that are in the championship hunt, and you can see Jones, Sable, Conover, Harper, those are the 4 that are right now, before coming into this race, were looking like they were going to move into the next round, if we don't count next race's results yet. Cody Reeder out there, Jacob Gladelich, Torrance Schertz, and Sean Briscoe, who's not in the race tonight, they would have to do the work to get in. Now we check in over here, and you can see that Conover, Gladelich, Harper, Reeder, and Jones are all up in the top 10 right now. But Torrance Schertz, who really needed to get some extra points, he's all the way back in 21st, and he's a couple of laps down. So right now, still 5 drivers in the championship hunt in the top 10 vying for position And this is going to be some exciting stuff coming down with just 10 laps to go. It'll be 9 at the line. Who wants it the most? Who wants this win? Who wants the championship? Ronnie Norman checking in says, hard hit to end the night. We'll try again tomorrow night. We'll look forward to that. Ronnie, in the meantime, you can sit and kick your heels up, grab your favorite adult beverage, and enjoy the end of this one, the NORA Truck Series, EKRDesigns.co 250. Let's bring it to the close with David McGuire leading us back with Everett Counts in second, Josh Conover and John Cottle, your top 4 at the moment.
9 laps to go as they take the green flag, and a 17 truck out there looking to lead that outside lane. Before he went green, he had just enough time to send me a quick text here to say, I do not know how I missed that wreck. I thought my chase was over. It is not over as he's powering to lead in that outside lane.
Yeah, I had Ronnie wipe the bugs off the nose of my car last night. I'll tell you.
Looks like they're saving
they
it.
saved it.
No clue how they saved it. It looked like Snyder got loose, or actually it was Slauson who got loose there and managed to recover, but it's kind of split the field apart a little bit.
Again, speaking of pucker moments, I know a bunch of those drivers just had a pucker moment.
Yeah, it looks like Tim Harper actually got caught again in no man's land between the first and second lane, and Cody Reeder didn't quite know where to go. He went to follow him, but then there was a little checkup and almost turned him around. But thankfully, everyone was able to collect it, keep their heads cool, and I'm sure they'll catch back up here.
Yeah, they're still dancing, trying to decide who's getting the lane.
Well, we're right on board here with Cody Hyde on YouTube, as he's known. Currently running up there in the top 4 on the outside lane, following Josh Conover to the front, as Conover and McGuire now try to fight it out side by side at the front of this one. Just 7 to go as they cross the stripe, this time by Barney the Flagman. Can see it all unfolding as they come through the tri-oval at 190 miles an hour. Conover.
Boy, you can see Vincent Arthur really anxious to get back up to the front. You know he wanted to get back up and didn't want to lose that lead. So here comes that third lane with Vincent Arthur. And you've got, who is that? Yeah, David McGuire leading the bottom lane here. Doing a really good job getting a push there from the 32 of Everett Counts.
Wow, huge momentum run on the outside. Surprised nobody has tried to move up the track to try to block it, but Cody Height and Josh Conover there to the left of your picture trying to hold steady on that central line. David McGuire and Everett Couts down on the low line. Couts, of course, tonight's sponsor, the EKR Designs.co 250. Could it be Everett Couts' turn up in victory circle? Will be a guyless Josh Conover, Timothy Harper, a lot of these drivers not fighting for the championship, but they're up there at the front. Wow, big move from the top line down to the center from Nick Geilis.
Yeah, that tandem of Geilis and Arthur, when they get hooked up, man, they can go to the front in a hurry. I'm actually really surprised that nobody moved up to block that third lane. Hanover can vouch for it. I've raced with Vincent Arthur a couple times myself. That is one fast driver, and if there's anything you can do to keep him back behind you, I would definitely do it. And as we see Josh Conover make that move right now, moves up in front of him.
There are times that line is coming, though. Again, back to that, if you jump up to block it, you can actually hurt yourself because you're going to fall back till the line gets to you. And then they have to readjust to get back up to speed. So sometimes you're better just letting it go and seeing, if they get around or get up even with you. And then
Geilis.
Big hit for Geilis, and we've got about 8 trucks involved in this one, and they're still wrecking. A lot of trucks involved. Christian Snyder manages to pick his way through this. It doesn't look too much damage for him.
Oh my goodness.
But Arthur involved again. Chad Engel in this one.
Todd Slauson may not even be able to make it back around. He is missing the entire front off of that truck with heavy suspension damage.
Stephen Henning, and taking a look at Slauson here. A lot of damage on that vehicle, and yeah, that is, it's seen better days in that 22 camp, and there's certainly no way to get that thing fixed in a hurry, so Slauson in bad shape at the moment. He was having a good run here tonight, but unfortunate. Now let's take a look back and see what caused this one. Not exactly sure where this one began, but we'll take a look.
Looked like Timothy Harper might have gotten into somebody in the outside lane. Yeah, Nick Geilis. Harper got into Geilis as Geilis was way up by the wall. And again, kind of a little confusion if we're going 3 wide and who's taking which lane. And then from there, just calamity. Oof, and there's that big hit. Slauson goes up into the outside wall.
And they've changed the damage model. The old days, you could have a wrecked car and you could kind of drive it back to pit lane okay. Now, if you got suspension damage, you know, it's like a bumper car just trying to get it back.
Yeah, once the steering box in these cars gets knocked out of whack, it is more than a handful just to get it on the track. That happened. We saw that happen last night to Justin Bissonnette. He got an impact in the door. Was able. The car was aerodynamically sound, but was really not able to keep it. Oh, just up the wall there. Not able to keep the car straight. Ended up losing the draft. So most likely this is going to be the end of the night for Todd Slauson, though. That looks like some pretty heavy damage.
That was a monster hit. As we now jump on board with Chad Engel, who has a front row seat to all of this action. Actually manages to get through pretty well.
He almost got help. Oh, except that last hit looks like it might have hurt him, but that first little nudge almost directed him out of danger.
And we take a
looking at a couple of these that have been damaged. Now I want to do the Larry thing. If you look at this cutaway car.
Yeah, we need the VirtualRacing.Network cutaway car.
Yeah,
you got to get that up in the booth.
Absolutely. Well, we're working on the budget for that. Ain't cheap. You got to buy one of these things off of Christian Snyder. Or, I don't know. Maybe over at Detach House of Speed, they could give us one of their old machines to cut up.
Yeah, we'll get down there next time we see Cody Eldred in the Charlotte shop. I know he's got a couple of spare parts down there.
So we're gonna get a green-white checkered here, and these drivers now coming into the pits. We've got Vincent Arthur in the pits with a bunch of damage, but certainly a lot of drivers going to be gassing up because, again, you got to make it to the white flag, and if not, then you got a green-white checker again. So we will get a green-white checker in. It's a question of can we get to the white flag, and then that will make it official here. But some exciting stuff.
I'm afraid I may have announced or cursed him when I kept bringing up that we could have a green-white checkered. They can blame me for that one.
You brought it about. Hanover Fist, that's right. Virtual Racing, Hanover Fist, care of VirtualRacing.Network. We'll make sure we send all of your loving fan mail to Hanover Fist.
I'd say it's a safe bet on most occasions at Talladega. Now, Trevor, for us in the booth as well as some of our fans, can you clarify the green-white checker rules for the NORA Truck Series? Do they have more than one attempt here?
They will have up to 3 attempts. So it's certainly you have to fill it up with the presumption that you're going to go through 3 plus the caution laps. But then again, we could get through it in the first one. So all we got to do is make it to the white flag, and then it turns official. But easier said than done in these situations. Now, the one saving grace of this is that it takes about a half a lap to really get up to speed here at Talladega. So probably not going to see too much moving and shaking in that first, quarter of a lap to half a lap. But as soon as everybody gets up to speed, they're going to be vying to get themselves into position. And once again, you look at the top 10, you've got Josh Conover going to be in front, Timothy Harper in 5th, Jacob Gladelich in 7th, Cody Reeder in 9th. But you've got Brian Jones, who was caught up in that incident. He's back in 13th place.
And Timothy Harper sitting in 5th doesn't look like he took a lot of damage after being involved in that last incident. So he's got a really good shot here to make a run at it. Looks like he's going to pick the inside lane.
I love how we say he doesn't have a lot of damage. He's got scrapes on both sides of this truck.
Yeah,
and
scrapes is just racing.
But certainly, yeah, it's still straight. I mean, as you know, iRacing, though, sometimes can interpret a scrape as a dent or something that affects your aero. So, but at the same time, sometimes it can take quite a wallop, and the machine still drives with the same speed as everyone else. So it's a bit of a crapshoot as to how iRacing treats each one of these scrapes. But nevertheless, Tim's up there in the top 4, and assuming everything's still good to go, hey, who's going to win this one? Could we see David Maguire, who we have not yet seen win one of these races? He's got a great chance at it. We've still got our race sponsor, Everett Couts, in the top 3 at the moment. Cody Hyde on YouTube, it would be special to see him win another truck race. Of course, he won, but it was at Mid-Ohio, and wasn't he shocked that he won that race as well? But it just so happened to work out that race. And so here we go. Green-white checker here at Talladega. Josh Conover going to lead us back to the green flag. Who's it going to be? Conover, Maguire, Couts, Harper, Heights, Gladelich, Campbell, and Cody Reeder. That is your top 10 right now. And they're forming up already. Conover taking over the front, but here's Couts just behind, and then on that low line, there comes Maguire in the bright green truck.
We've seen Maguire up front all night long as
we've got one turned
to the back.
I believe it's Cody
But they've
Reeder.
saved it. We stay green. Yeah, but Maguire with the Uper Trooper Ford F-150 up front. Getting a great push here from Tim Harper. Tim Harper, I'm telling you, with that car, even a couple of scrapes, as the pusher, it's not going to hurt him too much. And if he can get down here to the white flag, maybe make a move in the last turn, he's got a shot at it. But Josh Conover not going to let him get away with it. Getting a pretty good push here on the outside lane.
It's got a great run, and Conover still holding on there on that outside lane, but he seems to be kind of falling back. Conover into another truck, and the yellow comes out before they hit the white flag, and we're going to get another green-white checker. I'm not sure who it was that got tagged there.
It looked like Conover just came down slightly into Heights, and that turned the both of them up into the outside. Well, actually turned Heights real heavy in the outside wall there.
It was Heights.
Well, the inside car looked like it drifted up just a bit too, so they kind of met in the middle.
Well, let's take a look at this one.
The dreaded side draft. That's always difficult in iRacing. Comes up just a bit, right reared into the outside wall, and moves first. It's going to ensure he goes to the infield carousel.
Remember the gap they had between lanes? That ain't there now.
Yeah, this is where side drafting, it's a risk reward, right? You want to side draft and slow that other lane down, but man, that's a hard hit. Straight nose in that outside wall. How many times have we seen that tonight?
We've seen it a few times, but right now the side drafting, as you mentioned, was very pronounced between Conover and, you know, let's watch Conover coming through. He does come down a little bit as Heights comes up. And I think one of the problems was Conover was starting to drift back. And he was looking for any advantage that he could to try to get that momentum going again in that outside lane. And he was
kind of stuck out there. He just had Everett Couts behind him. There wasn't a lot of energy out there, a lot of cars stacked up. So he absolutely was going to try to come down and slow that inside lane down any way he could. But it looks like from the leader back, all three of them drifted up in the tri-oval. That may have come from the leader. And
well, and sometimes when you're doing that side draft, when you're just a 2Z or 3Z group, you're not so much going to be able to slow that other lane down. But if you could stall your backwards motion, you know, so you can keep some of the momentum, it's helpful. But yeah, risk reward.
So we'll re-rack them and try it again. See how many cars do we have left in the lead lap now? Looks like we're down to 96 is the last car.
Let's
14.
see, 14. Yep. Chad Engel, the first truck a lap down at the moment, and he's in the pits. I'm not sure if he's going to move from that position. That truck looks pretty worse for wear as it sits there on pit lane, but David Maguire still out in the lead of this one. He had lost the lead there after the start of the last one, but Maguire, one of our few independents that even make starts here in the NORA Truck Series, so always interesting to see when he can get up there and be in the front, especially at a plate race. So a lot of times you would assume these would be pretty much dominated by certain teams that are up there working together. But honestly, if I look at the top groups, it's a mixed bag of different drivers and different teams, and certainly nobody necessarily working directly together at this stage of the race. But green, white, checkered, everybody's going after the same prize at the end of this one. And right now, Tim Harper, Josh Conover, and Jacob Gladelich, the 3 championship drivers that are closest up to the front and could potentially take a victory here tonight.
Yeah, McGuire's done a fantastic job of manipulating his way toward the front. We've seen that car, like I said, at the restart. We've seen that car up front or near the front all night. And he's done a fantastic job of positioning himself where other cars have been forced to push him, even if they're not his teammate. So now he finds himself in the lead. And it's a scary place to be because, you know, everyone behind you is going to be trying to get around you in the last lap. But should a caution come out after you take that white flag and the race ends, he's going to be in the right position.
You may have friends, you may have teammates. When it's a green, white, checkered, all that's out the window. It's all or nothing. You got to go for it.
Well,
yeah, I'm curious to learn about his Uper Trooper sponsorship on that car. I know Uper is a nickname for someone from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I was actually just up there last year. It's a beautiful area. Yeah, Hanover, you've probably spent some time up there yourself.
Yep, not far from Minnesota. We don't need a big lake. We got a shitload of little ones. But yeah, we sometimes go out of state to go fishing.
Well,
jeez.
Well, either way, I'm not sure. I do not know the answer to that. That's a great question. If McGuire can finish on the podium, let's make sure we ask him about his sponsorship out here tonight. But it's one of those distinctive paint schemes. For sure, nobody else out there with a bright green paint scheme, so you know where David McGuire is in the field. Different drivers kind of circulating through different paint schemes over the season, but McGuire sticking to that bright green for the number 23. And again, an independent in the field, which is just kind of rare. Everyone else signed up with different teams. Of course, Conover running both Flatline and JRC, and kind of casually working with a couple of different offshoot teams. But certainly Flatline, beginning of this season, in both the Trucks and the Cup Series, were practically unstoppable. And since then have met a lot of competition. Of course, Brian Jones doing a fantastic job for Brian Powell Motorsports and being at the top end of the order. But Conover taking the regular season championship title at the last race. So who's it going to be tonight? We've re-racked him. It's the second green, white, checkered. Is it going to be McGuire? Will it be Conover, Harper, Couts, Height, Gladelich? How about Brian Jones? Why not? He's been in the middle of a few different accidents, but he could get up there and possibly take the win after all. So here we go once again.
That outside lane did not get a good restart here, but Couts really close to the back bumper of Conover, and the inside line not as organized, so they're going to catch back up in a hurry.
Well, Conover does catch back up, and now they're side by side at the front of this one. Once again, we do have to get to the white flag to make this one official.
When does that third lane come in, if it does?
A lot of movement in the back of this field right now as well as they open up that third lane.
He had one taker and he backed out.
Well, as we get up to speed here, and we're not going to make it, as it looks like Conover gets turned there in the 17 on camera.
32 took some damage.
And it's a number of different drivers. They're storing shirts, possibly involved. Everett Couts now pulling it into pit lane. And you can see why that gleaming EKR Designs.co machine is now all bent up and turning sideways. And that's not the way she's supposed to look. So let's see what happened once again as this one got going. And I'm not sure who was the guilty party here, but let's check this one out. See EKR Designs behind. Yeah, it would appear as though
That actually may have been the last caution, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. For some reason, our
It
software
kind of,
said-
from what I was viewing, it kind of looked like they were there. They couldn't decide if they were going to go third lane or not. And right there is where everything kind of clustered together and there was nowhere to go.
Yeah. Jacob Gladelich got just enough of the 32 car to send him into the 17, and then Josh had nowhere to go but meeting that safer barrier. Yeah, it looked like the contact actually came from the 14, where he got into the 32, and that bumped him up into the 17. A little bit of a chain reaction from the rear. Again, Gladelich looking at that outside lane. It was there, it wasn't there, and then before he could get out of the gas, just
The
a
door
little
closes
tap.
quickly.
It really does. It really does. A little bit of indecisiveness up in front of him there, and yeah, that's where it puts us. See, our good friend Christian Snyder did make his way through there. So, yeah, and Nick Gillis might have been involved here. I saw he was having some trouble getting going. I don't know if he was collecting the lead in this one.
Yeah, I don't know if he just pulled it down to a total stop, and that triggered our software, but it did say that he had crashed, and he did, in fact, pull it down to a stop. And
was he going to give a push to the league owner?
They are
Looks
good
like he
friends. And when Gillis, of course, is not... Oh, and Conover decides to tow, but when...
I don't think you need wheels to get pushed.
When Gillis is not out there, he does a lot of behind-the-scenes work here, doing some stewarding and stuff like that as well, so certainly understandable. Let's see what Cottle saw. We haven't been talking too much about the number 1 truck tonight. Wow.
He's been up there. He's been in the mix. And yeah, just playing it safe. Picking up spots.
It's just like last night's race. You asked why I didn't get Ryan to pull out in front of me. Well, he was slightly damaged. He's a league owner. I'm going to let him draft behind me to make points. You know, come on.
Guys, he popped his engine. That little bit of contact popped that number 1's engine. Let's see if we can check this out. This is all it took to end John Cottle's night.
He might have hit reverse too quick trying to back up to get, you know, when he was trying to get behind.
He didn't even make contact.
Been a misshift. It might have been a misshift.
That is someone.
That's surprising.
That is so sad to watch, but unfortunately for Cottle, that will end his evening. It's either that or he had a hot date to get to, and just said, enough with this green-white checker business. I've got to get to the movie. But
it's after 11 on the East Coast. It might be the case.
Exactly. Hey, I got to get up for work at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, you never know. I mean, it is a factor, but certainly I'm just joking around in that case. But, you know, for a lot of these guys, it is. I mean, obviously we're not getting paid to do this at this level, and everybody's pretty much getting up tomorrow morning. I know Josh Conover and Vincent Arthur, a lot of these guys have early jobs to get to in the mornings, and so it is always a factor. And then, you know, this is our 3rd green-white checker, and then there's driver interviews afterwards. So for a lot of these guys, very little sleep on the nights of league racing. But hey, you make those sacrifices. You just do what you got to do to live out your dream of being a NASCAR driver.
I just sleep in because I'm retired.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Feels good to
we're
earn
coming to
that.
the choose
I
here.
did my 5:30 in the morning shift for enough years. It's like now it's like I can sleep in. You betcha I can.
Guess what, guys? So we just had the choose on the backstretch. Top 3 took the bottom lane, which is going to give Vincent Arthur that number 1 starting position in the outside lane.
That is some crazy stuff.
He's got the 14 car behind him, and looks like he's missing his left front fender. So don't know what kind of push he's going to be able to give, but maybe with that fender out of the wind, he can give him enough to get by.
I mean,
If we look back one more spot behind him there, we've got Christian Snyder maybe sitting in the catbird seat with a car that looks very clean outside of a couple scratches down the side.
Well, he's had to wait here until the 3rd and final green-white checker, but he could be in the right place. I'm guessing Gladelich is not going to be as fast as everyone else, but again, you just don't know how iRacing is going to deal the cards. So this is definitely a much smaller field than we've been seeing for a lot of this race. We're down to 13 Trucks here at the front. But David McGuire has been showing strong. Vincent Arthur going to be starting on the outside. In the front, this is going to do it. Checkers or wreckers, we're heading for the finish here of the EKR Designs.co 250. Barney the Flagman with that green flag in the air for the final time tonight. And we are green here once again at Talladega. Hold on to your chairs. This is going to be one bumpy ride here. David McGuire in front. Tim Harper pushing him in second. Cody Height on YouTube into third as that outside lane just absolutely fell apart.
No momentum whatsoever on the start from that inside lane. And now we've got Tim Harper, a playoff driver, right behind our leader. Wondering when he's going to make the move. And David McGuire's going to be asking himself that very same question. You look back a couple of rows, and again, like you said, we've got Cody Haight and then Brian Jones still sitting there in position 6.
Well, Tim Harper still pushing hard on David McGuire. Is it going to be any one of these top 4 as they line up right now? It looks like Brian Jones has managed to pull a little bit of a gap to Jacob Gladelich. Of course, Gladelich having that damage, and the white flag is in the air this time by for Barney the Flagman. We're going to make it to the checkers. Who's it going to be? David McGuire still in the front. Christian Snyder.
Harper looks pretty well committed here. And we've got a third lane moving up here.
Third lane coming up down the outside, but
That's Coy Pennington.
And it looks like they get loose towards the back. Are they still wrecking? They're certainly rubbing back there. But we continue.
We've got Tim Harper to the lead in the outside lane. 2 by 2. Can they stay connected?
Harper in that outside lane as we come around, and it looks like McGuire into the wall, Harper into the wall. Brian Jones takes over the lead of the race. We're coming to the start-finish line.
That's going to be Brian Jones.
Christian Snyder in second, and he's going to have to settle for second as they're still wrecking across the start-finish line. Brian Jones punches his ticket into the round of 4. He wasn't up there in the lead except for this last lap, and Brian Jones survives multiple accidents. Christian Snyder, what more can be said? He manages to survive, but sadly only to second place, and that is going to be a difficult interview after this one. Cody Height on YouTube manages to take third, and guys, only one championship driver finishing in the top 5 here tonight.
Man, it looked like David McGuire had it locked up, and just coming out through turn 3 and 4, he came high enough off that bottom line, got into Tim Harper, and they both went up into the outside wall, which opened the door. And that gave Brian Jones the win. And again, another all these storylines. Full Send Motorsports with another P2 finish here.
Yeah, unfortunate for Christian. And like I said, I'll let you interview Christian, Ryan.
Fair enough. But look, you see David McGuire. He's got to keep that truck on the bottom lane if he's going to have a shot. And he just drifted up enough. I don't know if the car got loose. And yeah, that was all she wrote when it came down to that. And collected Tim Harper. Tim Harper couldn't quite get by.
Wow, unfortunate at the end there. And we do have Everett Krause checking in with us also over in the YouTube chat room as he says, glad he could represent EKR here. Unfortunately made a bad move at the end, and that's just the crapshoot of Talladega, but nevertheless, she showed well for the EKR Designs 250, EKR Designs.co 250, and of course, EKR Designs.co, premium paint schemes found nowhere else. We're going to take a momentary break here, get the final results up there on the screen for you. We'll be right back with driver interviews. Stay tuned here on VirtualRacing.Network. Welcome back on VirtualRacing.Network as an even stranger turn of events has happened. As it appears, Brian Jones either had a disqualification due to his incident limit or due to causing a caution. We're waiting for more information on that, but Christian Snyder for Full Send Motorsports has done it. He has taken victory here in round number 21 at Talladega for the NORA Truck Series. Congratulations to the new winner of the race, Christian Snyder. Unfortunate turn of events for your championship contender, Brian Jones, who somehow has acquired too many points, too many incident points, and he has been disqualified again. We're waiting for more clarification on that. Cody Height then will take over second place, and Anthony Campbell has taken over third, as you can see there in your results. So some astounding stuff here in the NORA Truck Series, but finally Full Send Motorsports breaks the curse, and they take over. They managed to get a victory here in the NORA Truck Series. Congratulations to Christian, who pretty much came out of nowhere to take that victory. So with that, let's go ahead and go through the field here, and we'll give you your final results. But Anthony Campbell ending up finishing in third place. Vincent Arthur in fourth place. Cody Reeder in fifth place. Jacob Gladelich finishes in sixth. In seventh, Dustin Kleba. Eighth place, Timothy Harper. Ninth, Todd Schneider. 10th, Chad Engel. 11th, Torrin Schertz. 12th, Brian Jones. 13th, David McGuire. 14th, Everett Couts. 15th to Josh Conover. 16th to John Cottle. 17th, Nick Geilis. 18th to Coy Pennington. So we advance the results here. 19th will go to Christopher Heights. 20th to Todd Slauson. 21st to Stephen Henning. 22nd to Martin Plute. 23rd to Ronnie Norman. 24th to Eric Sable. 25th, Corey Danielson. 26th, Jake Christenberry. And 27th, Mark Bremkamp. And what more can be said about the heartbreak for Brian Jones, who went from punching his ticket into the playoffs to a 12th place finish. But that being said, let's go ahead and bring up our third place finisher, Anthony Campbell, who, I mean, that was an absolutely amazing way to end up with finishing third. But we're going to see if we can find, and there he is. So let's go ahead and bring him in. And hand over fist, I believe you had a chance to now catch up with our third place finisher, Anthony Campbell.
Yeah, I raced around him now recently in the Icon, but we've never talked, so it's our first chance. The green-white checkers, there was a lot of shuffling, there was a lot of bumping and banging, but you're able to get yourself into a position to podium here at the end. How's it feel?
I gotta be honest, I didn't think I was gonna be up here to talk to you guys. I had quite a bit of damage on the truck, so I was just trying to help the teammates out, but it's always good to be up here and talk to you guys.
Sometimes that arrow bites you in iRacing, sometimes it gives you a break. You got the break, you might as well be happy about that.
Yeah, I am. I'm extremely happy. It was a good debut for the NORA Truck Series. Lots of practice for next season.
Practice. As a musician, I can tell you there's nothing like it to get yourself ready. You can't just go in cold and think you're going to be the top dog. But yeah, that last couple of incidents, did you find some open doors, or was it just trying to ricochet right?
I tried to find open doors. One of the last two cautions, I got hit on the right side, and I thought my race was over after that. But this last green white checker, I came in the pits to top off on fuel, and I only had like 10 seconds, so it's like, oh, we're fine. Take the fuel, get back out there.
Yeah, if when you're pulled in that pit and you're looking down at that number, you're trying to decide, is it worth the getting the wrinkle out at least, or do you just go out and chance it and hope that in your, like you said, tuck behind somebody and hope it doesn't affect you? If it's short enough, you're crazy not to take it.
Yeah. Like I said, I took it and ended up being a good call. I was trying to get up there to help team owner Timmy up there, try and get him as many points as he can, because he's a playoff driver here. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that, but.
Sometimes just surviving is Talladega. Come on, just surviving sometimes is a miracle by itself. I mean, you can run the smoothest race and be the most patient driver. Doesn't mean you're not going to get taken out. So, really good job, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And who would you like to thank for your run there to podium position?
I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast. It's always fun to entertain. Hopefully the fan base wasn't too aggressive towards you guys tonight. I'd like to thank my mom for watching. I know she was watching a little bit. I'd like to thank Harper for allowing me to race tonight, give me a little feel for next season. And just thanks to the team for putting together a great truck.
Well, absolutely. That was terrific. And Hanover, we appreciate you picking up that interview with Anthony Campbell. Campbell, great job out there tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you hopefully in some more NORA Truck or Cup races.
Well, little teaser for next season, full-time for Mr. Harper.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Congratulations. Great team to be with, and certainly we'll be expecting a lot more of those podiums in your future, okay?
I hope so.
Well, good luck to you, and we'll see you out there Sunday night for Icon.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
So that is Anthony Campbell. Congratulations to him and his debut here in the NORA Truck Series, taking third place. And Ryan, I believe you've had a chance to catch up with Cody Height, who ended up taking second place.
I have. I'm down here with Cody Height, fresh out of the car. Somehow Cody Height was able to weave his way through some of that late race calamity and come away with a podium finish. Cody, tell me about how you were able to survive those last few restarts to come home in second place.
Dude, it wasn't just the last few restarts. Every single wreck in this race, I think, happened directly in front of me. I don't know how. I was the luckiest dude out there.
Well, the only place better than directly in front of you would be directly behind you, but seems like you had the magic touch here to be able to check up, not get run over, and keep that number 16 truck clean.
Yeah, a whole lot of luck tonight. A little bit of skill, a whole lot of luck. Had a lot of fun, man. The first couple of stages, we were like 3 wide, 18 rows deep, it felt like, man. It was a whole lot of fun, and just I had a blast out there.
Yeah, we were up in there in the booth just on pins and needles watching you guys 3x3x3. It seemed like almost through the whole field. Kind of joking that the virtual fans never sat down the entire race because it was such an exciting race. But tell us about, what did you think about this race overall? With the obviously some close racing, we even had a little bit of fuel mileage, and then going into extra time here.
Yeah, I kept pitting every time I had the chance to keep fuel in the truck, because I learned from last night that I don't want to have to worry about fuel mileage. So every chance I got, I had like 15 laps of fuel there at the end, so I wasn't worried about it at all. But yeah, it was just a little bit of gamesmanship there at the start, because I'm running for owner's points, so I couldn't really get stage points. So I was just kind of cruising at the back trying to survive, and then go at the very end and try to get the win, which I almost had, but Christian had to be half a truck in front of me when Brian got DQ'd.
I know, we were all very surprised by that. We thought Brian did have the win until we saw he was relegated to last car on the lead lap. So congratulations here tonight. Awesome job, Cody. We love seeing you in the Icon Series. It's good to see you out here in the NORA Truck Series as well. Who do you want to thank for this podium finish here tonight?
Oh, man, I got to thank Timmy, the team owner. I got to thank my wife for letting me do this. She's dealing with 7 dogs while I'm out here sim racing, so I appreciate that. But yeah, just thanks to you guys for commentating, for coming over and commentating, helping Trevor out. A lot of fun, good broadcast. It was a blast. Hope it was a good show for everybody.
Sounds great. Yeah, we all had a lot of fun up here, so we appreciate you coming out, and congratulations on that second place finish.
Yeah, thanks. You guys have a good one.
You too, and that is Cody Height, who takes second place, and it's opened the door to a pretty exciting finish here tonight. This was not what I think any of us were expecting. We were expecting Chris Snyder to take second place, and he did take second place. But I mean, sometimes luck is on your side, and tonight it doesn't get any luckier than Christian Snyder. Christian, you put yourself in position to possibly take the win, but you know, Brian, he was there, and then he made one too many contacts, and you didn't. You kept it clean tonight. As a result, Christian, congratulations on taking victory here in the NORA Truck Series and breaking the curse of your team. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm as shocked as you are for me being up here. I have no idea how that happened. I mean, a win's a win, though. Man, if you would have told me that I would be in victory lane after tonight, there was just no way. I know I jokingly said yesterday during Icon, I was like, hey, I'm going to go out there and win since Brendan Jenks finished second, but I never thought that I would actually go out and win. And I feel bad for Brian. I pushed him as hard as I could there that last lap. I said, I'm staying on your bumper, and whatever happens, happens. And I also got to apologize to Vincent Arthur, because on the restart, I told him I'd stay with him, but the outside lane fell apart instantly, and I had to go down to the inside. And I had to do what was best for me, and in the end, it led me to victory lane somehow after 3 years of winless in NORA. I can't believe it's at Talladega either. I can't believe it.
And, you know, it's a crapshoot, but, you know, you also told me on Sunday last night that you were taking notes to try to play out here tonight. Was there any notes? Was there anything you could learn? Did you bring anything with you? Was it just the simple idea to survive the first part of the race? I mean, certainly by surviving, you didn't pick up all those incident points that Brian Jones ended up with.
Yeah, survival was the call of the entire race. I mean, I got collected in one big one where my teammate, I was pushing him on the outside lane, and a car came up right in front of him, nowhere we could go. Had a little bit of damage on the left side and the right side, and got involved in the last big one too, right there. Vincent Arthur came down and doored me a little bit, got a little bit of damage, and I decided not to come into pit road to fix it, and thank God I did, because if I would have pit, I wouldn't have been where I was. Yeah, I've never won a plate race. I've always either ended up on my roof or in the stands. So to end up in victory lane, I'm thrilled. It makes me want to go out and race tomorrow, you know. But I got obligations up here in the booth for tomorrow. So yeah, I can't believe it. I'm still kind of in shock a little bit.
Well, what an amazing run. Certainly. You know, you did work with the rest of your teammates to get up there. You can maybe talk about that a little bit before we close this one out. But certainly you had Chad Engel in the seat there tonight. You had Martin Plute. And, you know, you guys raced really, really hard out there tonight. Todd Slauson as well. At one point, you had Plute and Slauson up in the top two spots. But it really turned out to be a team effort out there tonight, and your strategy to kind of just hang back until the very end was the one that played out.
Yeah, we were kind of joking about that during the beginning of stage 2. Whenever they were up front and me and Chad were in the back, I was like, now you guys are making me look like a liar, because I told Trevor we're all staying in the back, and you guys are up there first and second. And yeah, we tried to stay together as much as possible, tried to work together. I thankful that Chad and Martin came down to fill in. Both of my drivers were absent. I think it was work came up, so thanks for them coming over. But we did a great job working as a team. Todd stayed around after he was done and kind of spotted for me to get that done, so really appreciate him staying around and staying with the team for, I think this is his 3rd year with the team, so he's around for a 4th year next year. Chad too, he's coming over for next season, so I can't wait to race with those guys full time next year and try to get a championship next season.
Well, the silly season in high effect, and great to hear about those drivers coming over full time. who would you like to thank for your run to victory here tonight?
Definitely you guys for broadcasting, Josh for putting on the league, Ronnie for usually paying my paychecks whenever I'm up here in the booth. I think tonight's race was sponsored, so thanks to Everett for sponsoring tonight's race. Big shout out to him to help out. Thanks to my team, obviously, I've already said it. I can't say it enough. Thanks to my team for staying around and cheering me on, and thanks to all the guys who gave me congratulations over race chat. More than I thought. I guess I'm respected, but yeah. A lot of guys congratulated me, so thanks to all them, and thanks to all my friends who end up watching this.
Well, I guess you still got it after all, Christian, so I might have to start making plans to be grabbing somebody else for commentary before too long. But great to see you back behind the wheel, and we'll look forward to seeing you back up here in the booth tomorrow night. Congratulations, and I'll let you go off and party with your team members.
All right, thanks, man.
That is Christian Snyder. I can't believe it, but I'm saying that he just won this race here at Talladega. It was a hard-fought race, and guys, Hanover, Ryan, you did a fantastic job commentating here tonight. Your final thoughts on this race? I know it's late, but this was an amazing Talladega race and quite a bit different than last night's race in Icon.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I'm honestly shocked that we had as much calamity as we did with this being a plate race in the playoffs. Thought we'd see a little bit more give and take, folks that just wanted to survive and make sure they got some points out of the race tonight. But man, these guys did not let up from the start to finish, and it was exciting for it. So as a fan, it was wonderful. I loved watching it. But yeah, I'm just kind of a little bit surprised that these guys weren't a little bit more tame with it being a playoff race.
Yeah, and Chris just reinforced what I said when we were going through the green-white checkers. You have teammates, you have friends, but when it comes to that green-white checkers, you got to do what you have to do. That's, and again, like real estate, it's location on a super speedway. If you're in the wrong neighborhood, you're in the wrong neighborhood.
I think we've also got to give Christian some bonus points for that burnout, because that is the most perfect circular burnout I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's some pro level Zanardi type donuts there. Really nicely done. Yeah, amazing race. Really appreciate it, guys. And of course, Ryan, are we going to see you tomorrow night? Are you out there racing tomorrow night?
You will, yeah. I'll be back in the 84 Carvana Chevy Camaro running for Christian Snyder, trying to go back-to-back for him.
Wow, that would be phenomenal. Well, you better go get it. This is the week to do it. So good luck out there tomorrow night, my friend.
I appreciate you, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Hanover as well. I'll see you out there on Sunday night. We'll look forward to calling your and Ryan's race out there on Sunday night. Good luck.
Again, I'm disappointed with the fans. I did not see one Hanover Fist T-shirt in the stands, but what can you do? And again, that's why I run the Eddie Van Halen paint job, because you can spot that in a pack.
Absolutely. Well, catch both Hanover Fist and Ryan Patty out there on Sunday night here on VirtualRacing.Network. I'm Trevor Greenfield. You've been watching live iRacing. It's the NORA Truck Series. The EKRDesigns.co 250. We appreciate EKRDesigns.co. Premium paint schemes found nowhere else. Best paint schemes in the game, quick and with care. Make sure to head over to EKRDesigns.co. And the NORA Truck Series will be back in action in a couple of weeks' time. That'll be at Homestead Motor Speedway. In the meantime, Sunday night, it will be a return to action for the Icon Cup Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway right here on VirtualRacing.Network. Not already a subscriber, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and please make sure to like this video. It gets spread out there amongst more people on YouTube, and who doesn't want to share this kind of racing? Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll see you out there tomorrow night for the NORA Cup Series at Talladega, and you won't want to miss it. See you tomorrow night, everybody. Bye-bye.